Ball hangs on to it, but he is hotly pursued by Kite Apiaki, a senior from Salt Lake, and it's a 1-yard loss. So there's an example of not just size, but speed. He's 6'2", 285.
And so much was made of the Utah offense, and deservedly so, a year ago. I mean, what a machine under the control of Alex Smith. But the defense a year ago, the defensive edition of this 2004 Utes was something to behold as well. And heavy losses, Pam, coming into the season. This Utah defense really had to reload from a personnel standpoint.
Apiaki with the tackle for loss, makes it 2nd and 11. Ball with time, going in the end zone and overthrows his target. That's George Cooper. As Cooper was covered by Kyle Brady. And there's an example of the good players on defense that you were talking about, David. 3 guys first-team all-conference, including the player of the year.
Well, and they did return some talent, even with the heavy losses. We mentioned Morgan Scally at safety. Some very talented players up front lost to graduation, but good enough personnel coming back to have first-teamers at all 3 levels of the defense.
3rd and 11. Ball just 2 for 6 in the air. And he completes that one to Bilbo. And that will be a first down on 3rd and 11. Bilbo beating Harper to the ball. 14 yards and a first down.
Well, this is a 3-year starter at quarterback, Reggie Ball. And there's never been a question that Reggie Ball could drop back and sling the football. And he's handicapped a little bit by his size when he stays in the pocket. But there have been times over the course of the last 3 years and games where he has stepped up and thrown the football very well.
2 tight ends. Pitch it back to Daniels, and he gets next to nothing as he is tackled down by Kavika Pasco, and another flag comes down late.
Yeah, I think this is going to go against P.J. Daniels, retaliating after the tackle. And losing his cool a bit right in front of the referee.
Following the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 48 on the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
They call out number 48. That is one of the tight ends who was in on that play, Michael Matthews.
That was 48, not 45. You're right, Pam. P.J. Daniels getting up after the tackle, and right above Daniels is Matthews. There's the push and the punch in the chest with both hands. Matthews not liking the way that the Utah defensive front was treating Daniels after the tackle. You got to maintain your composure. That's a big penalty in the red zone.
Yep, so they go from the 15 back to the 30. 4 receivers in, wide receivers, 3 to the right of Ball. He finds Bilbo over the middle, and Bilbo, with his 2nd catch of the day, picks up a chunk of the yardage they lost. Steve Tate already with 5 tackles on the day. And Bilbo is a guy who was a quarterback when he came to Georgia Tech. And then somebody named Reggie Ball came to campus, and magically he became a wide receiver, and he's a pretty good wide receiver.
Well, Reggie Ball beat out Bilbo a couple falls ago as a true freshman, but Bilbo has made really a miraculous transition into that wide receiver spot. He's big and talented and very similar in style to Calvin Johnson.
How about 6'3", 218. Good bookends with Johnson. Ball, and it's intercepted. He threw it right into the hands of Steve Tate. And Tate, reversing field, finally is dragged down by George Cooper, who was the intended receiver. A 45-yard return for Tate.
Well, Tate is going to be sitting in the middle at the robber position. Freeze it right there. He was sitting in the middle of the field, broke on the football, and that's a terrific play by Tate in the robber position. And watch Reggie Ball as a quarterback. After an interception, you're a marked man. But a little wrinkle in the secondary, Pam, sitting Tate out in the robber position. Reggie Ball couldn't pick him up on the radar screen, and Tate made a terrific break on the football. All Utes early.
That was Steve Fafita, who we've seen jabbing with ball throughout the day. And then left wide open is Latondras. He's caught both touchdown catches today. Catch number 6, good for about 9 yards in front of Kenny Scott. First quarter is winding down. Utah with a couple of touchdowns, both of them to Latondras, taking on number 24 Georgia Tech and its vaunted defense. But it's been all Utes in the first quarter. And the first quarter comes to an end. Latondras, the senior, the former walk-on, putting on quite a show in San Francisco as they lead Georgia Tech 13-0.
Penn State, Florida State, the FedEx Orange Bowl, Tuesday on ABC.
This December, Nissan's got you covered from A to Z. Nissan's A to Z year-end sales event. Get year-end deals on Altima, Armada, Frontier, Maxima, Murano, Pathfinder, Quest, Sentra, Titan, Xterra, Z. Like 2,000 cash back on the Nissan Xterra 2006 Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year. Style, performance, value. From A to Z.
Disciplined investing. It's not about following the crowd. At T. Rowe Price, our independent research means we're not deceived by every market ripple, and we don't chase every fad. For each 1, 5, and 10-year period, over 70% of our funds beat their Lipper average. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a complete prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing.
Dick and Jane.
You're everything I need and more.
For richer or poorer.
What's going on?
The company went bankrupt?
We may be in a little bit of a pickle, Dick.
For better or worse.
Our lawn was repossessed today. I didn't even know they could do that.
Now.
Place looks amazing. What's your secret?
Thank you for letting us pay you in appliances.
Yeah.
They're sticking together.
Want to grab a cup of coffee?
I smoke it sounds nice.
And working it out.
Get some of those.
Vanilla chocolate.
In the back, in the back.
Fun with Dick and Jane. Rated PG-13.
Just about tip-off time. The 76ers
Of course, the shoulder had been injured by the injury.
Iverson drops trailing 3 and has a career
5 injuries to the right knee. Pays the price. This guy is a warrior.
Time to go to work.
Capital One Bowl week. We're so glad that you could join us on this journey to San Francisco, where it has been all Utah. They lead Georgia Tech 13-0. Remember, they're carving up the nation's 10th best defense statistically. 2nd and 1 from the 31 as we saw at the second quarter. Ratliff with Wheeler in his face, able to complete it for a first down to Brian Hernandez. Hernandez, a junior from Phoenix, actually started his collegiate career at Georgia Tech, was there for 1 year, did not play, and then came back to the West Coast to be closer to home because he had a family member who was sick. And now he's on Utah. Has a lot of friends, including P.J. Daniels, still on the Tech team.
Well, and we talked about the accuracy and the level of play by Ratliff in the first half here. That ball was so accurate that Hernandez was sitting on his rear end and still made the catch. Extremely accurately thrown ball.
Going the other way, that's a touchdown if he catches it, and he does. Travis Latondras has the hat trick. Three touchdown catches, Ratliff to Latondras, and it's 19-0 Utah.
Well, if the Yellow Jackets wanted a wake-up call, they got it.
Unbelievable. Tech coming in as the favorite, 24th in the country. And Utah, which has been very good in bowl games, they've won 4 straight bowls, trying to make it 5 in a row. As the extra point is true. And what a great final game for Travis Latondras.
Well, sooner or later, the safeties for Georgia Tech are going to learn to play these inside routes, especially by Latondras. And Latondras establishes that vertical threat and then comes back to the middle of the field. He has had huge success on the inside routes. And we are seeing the maturing of a real star in the future in quarterback Brett Ratliff. I mean, Latondras hasn't had to work hard when the football's been in the air, Pam. Ratliff has been putting it on the numbers.
Ratliff went to a high school that did not have a very good football team. You see Travis put up the 3. He's got 3 touchdowns. And Ratliff, very lightly recruited out of high school, went to Butte College and transferred here to Utah. And the only reason he's playing today, folks, is because Brian Johnson's hurt.
I mean, Brian Johnson through 10 games this year, taking over for Alex Smith, number 4 in the country in total offense, over 63% passing. And I think Utah is going to have a tremendous shootout in spring practice come spring.
And Sean Grant gets the kickoff from Louis Sakota and is tackled down at the 24. They also have another quarterback coming in next year, Tommy Grady, a transfer from Oklahoma, so it should be quite a camp for the quarterbacks.
Very highly touted and hugely recruited. Tommy Grady's going to add some real spice to that mix.
Let's go down to Duke Castiglione on the field. Duke.
We're with Michael Mendez, the CEO of Diamond Foods, the sponsor here of the Emerald Bowl. Michael, for those that don't know, what is the role of a title sponsor in a bowl game?
Well, we're involved in all aspects of the game, and also it's an excellent opportunity for us to promote our products and to support college football in a very nice venue here at the end of the season.
And after this bowl game here, what is Diamond's role in college athletics?
We find college athletics is a great opportunity for us to try to target to our demographic of young snackers that like our products and to support programs that we think are very valuable for the college institutions.
Well, Michael, you got a good one today. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Pam, back to you.
Thank you, Duke, and thank you to Michael Mendez. And I can personally recommend the chocolate-covered walnuts that we got in our gift package. Those things were good. The brownie walnuts, I think they call them.
My wife has recommended I stay away from those, man.
Well, you can always pass them this way, buddy, if you have any left. They are tremendous.
They are pretty good.
Georgia Tech calling the timeout. You saw an incomplete pass. Ball still trying to get his game on track. It is 20-0 Utes.
$8 million American men have diabetes. 29 million have high blood pressure. 50 million have high cholesterol. Many men with these medical conditions have one thing in common. Their love life just isn't what it used to be. If this sounds like you, call 1-800-985-1970 or go to mensfacts.com for your free Men's Facts Kit. You'll get a booklet about how diabetes, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol may lead to a medical condition that could affect your love life. Plus, you'll get tips to help you talk to your doctor and learn about a medicine that can help. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, your love life could be affected. So get the facts. Call 1-800-985-1970 or visit mensfacts.com. You'll be glad you did. Call 1-800-985-1970 or visit mensfacts.com today.
Pizza Hut proudly presents the Pick Your Pair promotion.
Just pick a pair of toppings and pick a pair of toppings, then pick a pair of crust.
For a personally picked pair of pizzas.
It's the Pick Your Pair deal at Pizza Hut. Buy 2 medium pizzas with up to 2 toppings on any one of our famous crusts for only $6.99 each.
$6.99? That's puny. A pittance for pizzas piled so high.
$6.99?
That's a great deal. Do you think they know we're not twins?
Feed a lot of family for not a lot of money with the Pick Your Pair deal at Pizza Hut.
1839. Fred Miller considers his father's field politics, but realizes the world needs a great beer more than it needs another politician. Good call, Fred. Pick up some 1855 lager, our tribute to Fred's first beer.
Energizer E² lithium batteries let you take up to 600 photos in digital cameras versus up to just 90 with leading ordinary alkaline batteries. Energizer E² lithium keeps going and going.
You know where you are when you see that shot. The legendary cable cars here in San Francisco. This is one hilly town. Of course, it's unbelievable. Great town to walk around in, but you feel it the next day, David. Of course, you spend a lot of time here. It's a great city.
Well, when we heard about our assignment for the bowl season, I can't say we were disappointed at all.
Yeah, thanks,
it's been
Dad.
a great
Placey.
week.
Well, you see Alcatraz in the background there, very picturesque city. And the Utah Utes carving up the Tech defense up 20-0. After a timeout, Georgia Tech has it 2nd and 10 from the 24. Ball has pressure, Toon coming at him, but he completes it underneath to Chris Woods. Woods, who has just come into the football game with his first touch, picks up 15 yards and a first down. We are joining you from SBC Park. Willie McCovey, right? Out there, of course, McCovey Cove, where Barry Bonds has lost a lot of baseballs. And in this game, Travis Latondras has been the Barry Bonds, the big home run hitter of this game. 3 touchdown catches, but all the credit in the world. How about his quarterback? Ratliff, 10 for 11 on the day. Practically perfect in every way. Handoff again to Woods, who is giving P.J. Daniels a break at the running back slot.
For Georgia Tech, trailing by 20 points, it puts this offense in a bit of a bind. This is an offense that really has a conservative approach in terms of playing to their defense, playing to the strengths. They avoid 3 and outs. They try to stay away from turnovers. They keep the ball on the ground. But when you're trailing by 3 touchdowns, you got to open things up, and you kind of go away from your bread and butter and your playbook.
Alvin Johnson still with 1 catch. They go to him again. It's tipped and intercepted. Sean Harper gets it, and that's the 2nd interception for Utah today. So the offense, predicated on not making mistakes, has made a couple of big ones.
Well, and again, we're going to see double coverage on Calvin Johnson. Johnson really never had much of a chance there. Harper, a great job of playing the deflection, but Reggie Ball did not throw that pass on time. And you got to be careful as a quarterback, especially with the ball hawking nature of this Utah defense. You got to be careful with the timing and the spots where you throw the football. 2 big mistakes by Ball early in this football game.
2nd interception of the year for Harper. Utes have it on the 37. Latondras back in at quarterback, trying to throw his first pass. I'm sorry, Weddle at quarterback. And he throws it into the end zone, and that is picked off. So Weddle, who has been playing quite a bit of quarterback, first time he threw it, and that's a disastrous result. Davis with the pick.
Now, Weddle has had some success in this game, lining up at the quarterback position, but at some point here, you got to figure, I got to pull the football down or throw it away. You got the ball in scoring position, in positive territory on the Georgia Tech side of the 50. First down play there, Pam. No reason to put that ball up for grabs, whether you're a full-time quarterback or not.
Weddle, a very smart individual, does just about everything for this football team. But making that big mistake as Dennis Davis gets his 3rd interception of the season. So Tech gets the ball right back. Throwing it up. And incomplete as Johnson was a step or 2 out of bounds. And a flag down on the play.
Well, Calvin Johnson getting jostled at the line of scrimmage, and this is probably going to go against the secondary of Utah. We're seeing a lot of fade routes up the sidelines to Calvin Johnson. And Reggie Ball, that's a tough throw, even with Calvin Johnson and his size and his speed.
Pass interference, number 32. Spot foul. First down.
You know, Pam, we're seeing them go to that fade route time and time again. The Utah cornerbacks, especially Eric Weddle, have done a great job of squeezing Calvin Johnson and Bilbo towards the sideline, not leaving a lot of room for error for Reggie Ball on those fade throws.
That time they get Weddle for the interference. That's the 17th pass interference or holding penalty called against by defenders defending Johnson this year, as he laid out for that ball in front of Weddle and was unable to bring it in. Johnson and Weddle locked up in quite a battle.
Well, in Utah, just by design, they try to force you into throwing the football more than you'd like to. And with Georgia Tech trailing by 20 points and Eric Weddle tightening the screws on Calvin Johnson with his coverage on the outside, as you saw on that replay, things aren't going to be real easy for Reggie Ball. He's going to have to make some tight throws to get the Yellow Jackets back in this game.
2nd and 10 now. Johnson in the slot to the left of Ball, who takes off with it. And Reggie, a talented runner, pushed out around the 35 by Joe Giannone. Capital One Bowl week, continues tomorrow on ESPN with 2 great games. First at 3:30 Eastern, Steve Spurrier, the old Ball coach, in a bowl. South Carolina taking on Missouri in the Independence Bowl. Follow at 7 Eastern. College Game Day Bowl Special presented by Outback Steakhouse, and at 7:30 Eastern, 2 of the nation's top teams. An intriguing matchup, David Norrie, Miami and LSU in the Peach Bowl.
I think clearly that's the best pre-New Year's matchup, hands down. And how about the year that Coach Spurrier had down at South Carolina?
Bringing them back. 3rd down, Ball zips it and completes it. Well thrown ball to Calvin Johnson, his 2nd catch. Good for a 1st down.
And a Reggie Ball, you go back to his freshman season, and in the opener against BYU, he really served notice that he was going to be able to throw the ball as a freshman in the big leagues. And then he engineered an upset against Auburn the following week, had Florida State on the ropes in his 3rd game as a freshman quarterback. And as you can see on that inside route, Pam, to Calvin Johnson, he's more than capable of throwing the ball down the field.
This time he hands off to P.J. Daniels, who picks up about 3 on 1st down. Martell Burnett, sophomore from Los Angeles, coming up to make the stop for Utah.
You know, in Reggie Ball, if there's one thing that's really plagued him over the last couple of years, his sophomore and now his junior season, is from time to time his accuracy escapes him. And that was evident in the finale this year against their rival Georgia. Just did not have the type of game that everybody really expected he would have against the Bulldogs.
That threw an interception late in the game. They ended up losing by a touchdown. Daniels picking up a couple of more yards. Spencer Toon, one of the many graduates on this Utah team, making the stop.
And speaking of true graduates, some of the players that moved on a year ago, we talked about Morgan Scalley. And this year, Eric Weddle, Player of the Year in the conference. Last year, it was Morgan Scalley. He was co-defensive Player of the Year. But, you know, players like Sione, Bauha, Jonathan Fanene. I mean, this defense was loaded a year ago, and more than one player went on to play in the NFL.
Really had to retool with all those players leaving. And Cox, the fullback, makes the catch. And that's a 1st down, as he is tackled down at the 39 by Eric Weddle. So the big fullback with his 1st catch of the day, 11th on the season.
Now we mentioned, you know, Cox hasn't gotten a carry throughout this 2005 season, but he's got pretty nice speed for a fullback. He's got terrific hands, and he's not just a blocking fullback for the Yellow Jackets. He's the type of guy that can sneak out into the flat and catch you when you're sleeping.
Sophomore from Lewisberry, Pennsylvania, gets the 1st down. They're on the 39. Daniels running into Cox, and then is tackled down by Giannone. PJ tackled down around the 32, picked up 7.
Well, and if you're Georgia Tech, you can't try to get back into this game with one play. And it really isn't the stripes of this Georgia Tech offense. That's not the type of animal this Georgia Tech is. They really try to establish the run and then play action off of that run game. Georgia Tech can score on this drive, capitalize, get it into the end zone. This becomes a ball game again.
2nd and 3, 4 receivers in, and Ball holds on to it. And he goes down. He'll be a couple of yards short of the 1st down. Toon makes another stop. Reggie gets up limping a little bit, and there's still some jawing going on between the two ball clubs.
I think he was upset with Spencer Toon after the tackle. Ball felt that there was some twisting of the ankle or the leg post whistle. Reggie Ball was not real excited about that.
So now Georgia Tech looking at a 3rd and 3 from the 32. Daniels is in the backfield, a couple of tight ends. Ball going opposite of where Calvin Johnson is, finds George Cooper, and George Cooper finds the end zone. Touchdown for Georgia Tech on a 3rd down play. So George Cooper scores his first career touchdown. The junior tight end, 0 receptions heading into this season. Had 5 coming into this ball game, and now his first career touchdown as Travis Bell is in to add the extra point. He has not missed an extra point in his career. So on a 3rd down, George Cooper, the junior from Westerville, Ohio, and Reggie Ball with time to find him, and Georgia Tech on the board.
Hey, do you guys need a ride?
Don't think so. No, thanks. No, thank you.
Eccentric matadors, exercising religiously and littering, do not use the steamroller. Even matadors love emerald nuts.
Hey. Hey. Whew. Yeah. You look relaxed for somebody in your condition.
It's because I have Aflac.
What do you mean?
Oh, when I'm hurt and miss work, Aflac gives me cash to help pay bills my health insurance doesn't.
You mean like car payments?
Mm-hmm.
Electric bills?
Mm-hmm.
Or the rent?
Yep. Even food. Chinese is here.
Great. I love duck.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
The Digital Rebel XT. An 8-megapixel, easy-to-use SLR. Virtually no delay when you snap the picture, and with the ability to shoot at 3 frames per second. You never miss the opportunity to catch the impossible. The next generation Digital Rebel XT. Official camera of the NFL and future NFL players everywhere.
Before you go here, before you attempt this, and before you even think about going there, you need to go here. Cooper Discoverer Tires, built to take you just about anywhere. Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. Go to coopertire.com for more information and a dealer near you.
ESPN College Football, the Emerald Bowl, is brought to you by Emerald Nuts. See what all the fuss is about at emeraldnuts.com. And in part by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Well, welcome back. Georgia Tech finally on the board. Reggie Ball throwing a 31-yard touchdown pass to George Cooper. As they go 80 yards on that drive, Georgia Tech converted all 3 of its 3rd downs, and George Cooper really coming on. Had 1 catch in his first 8 games, now 5 catches in his last 4, including this, his first career touchdown. David Jordan kicking off, and Derek Richards taking it out to around the 32-yard line. Joe Gaston with another special teams tackle. Let's go back to the TD.
Yeah, and this was just an exciting play design here. Let's go ahead and freeze it right there. Reggie Ball and his offensive line, they're going to sell sprint to the right, and Cooper is going to look like he's blocking down, and then he'll sneak out the back door on the tight end delay cross. Great job by Cooper delaying, selling the block, and then that's a pretty nice ball by Reggie Ball, getting the ball there in time to beat Evans to the corner. Big time play by Ball and his tight end Cooper.
Big time drive as they go 80 yards after an interception. And that pass is complete as a flag comes down. Latondras saying that his face mask was grabbed. Travis has 8 catches, 3 of them for touchdowns today. Not a face mask, but an interference penalty coming up against Tech.
Well, this Georgia Tech defense, they don't play much man-to-man. They're different, very different from Utah's defensive scheme in that respect. They play a lot of zone behind their pressure. And what they're betting on, what they're gambling.
Number 9 on the defense, the spot foul, first down.
This Georgia Tech secondary is gambling on their effectiveness against the quarterback and not allowing the quarterback to hit balls underneath and have the discipline to move the chains. And I think they've run into a quarterback this afternoon, Pam, who is more than capable of hitting those throws.
The guy you just saw in the white shirt and the cap, John Tenuta, the defensive coordinator, as Ganther slips down. Wilkinson gets credit for the tackle. Tenuta, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech. Here's our Aflac trivia question. This is Tech's 34th bowl game. We want to know who holds the school's bowl game record for most passing yards. All those quarterbacks in 34 bowl games.
You don't have to go back very far to catch 2 or 3 great ones at Georgia Tech, including names like Joe Hamilton, George Godsey, even Sean Moore.
Sean Jones, a very good quarterback here, is Wheeler in on the tackle of Ratliff, who hung on to it. And again, Ratliff had over 100 yards rushing in his only other start, and that was against BYU.
And my apologies to Sean, of course, Sean Jones. But 3 quarterbacks over the last 15 years that operated at a very high level of efficiency. And you look back at Joe Hamilton, you talk about a combination threat as a runner and a passer. Big time trouble for defenses.
Georgia Tech with 4 national championships in its history. 3rd and 8 for Utah. Ratliff all the time in the world, and he throws it over the head of Brent Castile, the intended receiver, as he hit the deck. Good pressure. Joanna Hawaii, the junior from Pensacola, Florida. There you see number 96 coming in and hitting Ratliff late. So here comes the second punt of the day for Utah.
Hawaii has been very solid inside, and against the spread offense, Georgia Tech usually employs a 4-man defensive front, but 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. Hawaii playing alone inside for the Yellow Jackets.
4 Tech players coming in, pressuring the punt as the ball goes down. Reuben Houston does not touch it, and it goes down inside the 10-yard line. The ball looked like it hit the foot of a Utah player a little bit upfield.
Well, and it did. And as soon as it touches a Utah player, Georgia Tech has the ability right there, has the ability to take the ball where contact was made with the Utah player.
They are marking it back at the 19 where it hit the Utah player originally. And that is where Georgia Tech takes over. Last time they had the ball, Reggie Ball drove them down 80 yards to get their first touchdown of the game.
I think it's safe to say Georgia Tech was a little bit stunned by the level of play, both offensively and defensively, for Utah in this game. And Georgia Tech's starting to get their legs back under it.
Another pass completion to the fullback, Mike Cox, as he gets the first down. And he is taken down around the 35-yard line. So this Georgia Tech offense, which has struggled early, now starting to come on a little bit. And this Utah team coming in with a little bit of a chip on its shoulder, perhaps, thinking maybe that Georgia Tech wasn't taking them as seriously as they should, and they came out firing today.
Well, and you look at Utah in 2003, 2004, their record was 22-2. They built a heck of a legacy. And this Utah team really was in every ball game this year. Even though they ended up with a 6-5 record, they competed with everyone on their schedule.
And down goes Ball. Second time he's been sacked. Martell Burnett coming in to knock him down.
The last time I saw this Utah Utes team with the naked eye was down in Tempe, New Year's night a year ago. And what I remember most about this defense a year ago was the pressure up front against Tyler Palko. And this defensive front hounded the Pittsburgh quarterback and doing a pretty good job against Reggie Ball this afternoon as well. Burnett's had himself a pretty big game thus far.
He was actually recruited as a wide receiver, as big as he is. That's kind of hard to believe, as Daniels somehow kept his feet on the cutback and picks up about 4 yards. Let's reminisce and go back to the Fiesta Bowl. Alex Smith putting on a show, 328 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also ran for 68 yards to lead the Utah offense against Pittsburgh. And here's Steve Fafita. We've seen him today, and Tyler Palko saw a lot of them last year. 5 tackles and a sack, the defensive MVP. Urban Meyer and Alex Smith go out together.
Wow, and what a game Alex Smith had. What a season for Coach Urban Meyer. And Steve Fafita was in the backfield throughout the night against Pittsburgh and Tempe.
And on this third down play, it's completed to Cooper, but it was a 3rd and 16. Steve Tate in on the coverage. Tech has to punt.
Well, and Pam, I don't think we'll ever know how good that Utah team was. You know, by design in college football, they were not allowed in the postseason to go up against a team that was really top-notch competition. And I think that's an area where college football has failed. This Utah team, I think, deserved a much better showcase to really highlight their skills a year ago.
Instead, they took on a Pittsburgh team, and Ben Arndt's punt is picked up late by Weddle. And he is tackled down just over the 40-yard line. So Utah with the 20-7 lead, 5 minutes and 21 seconds left to go in the first half of the Emerald Bowl.
I wouldn't do that.
Engrossed manicurists eventually relay advice like, do not untie that string. Even manicurists love Emerald Nuts.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, hey! That was my car.
Oh, that was your car? Well, this is my parking spot. I park here every day. That's an honest mistake.
I love the Chicago Bulls mainly because it's just a great time for everyone. I can bring a girlfriend, I can bring the friends. You can't get better than hockey in terms of contact sport, and that's my friends and I, that's what we go there for. And yeah, the giveaways too, that's great. You get a lot of bang for your buck.
Join us this Thursday and Friday as the Wolves host the Milwaukee Admirals and the Peoria Rivermen. Take advantage of great ticket deals for this Friday's game with a family 4-pack.
Chicago Wolves, it's my kind of hockey.
For more information, call 1-800-THE-WOLVES.
Saturday, New Year's Eve, you are invited to the premiere performance by the Iceman, Jerry Butler.
Whoa, Western Union man.
Check out the Outdoor Laser and Light Show, a lavish buffet, outdoor winter blues bazaar, a midnight champagne toast, and a continental breakfast at the Harold Washington Cultural Center, 47th and King Drive. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster.com or 312-559-1212.
Order now.
Welcome back to San Francisco. This is the Emerald Bowl. As we join you from SBC Park, Utah got out to a 20-0 lead on Georgia Tech. Brett Ratliff throwing 3 touchdown passes to the same guy, Travis Latondras. And there is Ratliff, the junior from Chico, California. Only his second start for Utah, and he's been tremendous. 11 of 13 through the air, make it 12 for 14 as Hernandez makes the catch. And Reuben Houston tackles him down a couple yards short of the first down. Aflac trivia question. This is indeed Georgia Tech's 34th bowl game. Who holds the school's bowl game record for the most passing yards? Pretty good QBs coming through Atlanta.
Well, you could go cutting edge, newer guy in Joe Hamilton, or you could go old school with Frank Broyles. I'm going to give it a toss of Frank Broyles.
How about that?
My producer, Eric Posman, took me all the way back to the 40s. I mean, this guy is into, I bet he's into the Chinese water torture.
Timeout taken by Ratliff.
He has been tough on me all season long.
60-year-old question, right? 1945? Goodness gracious. Ratliff going to have some questions answered as he heads over to the sidelines, and we'll get you back to San Francisco.
19.
The echo in the gym. The squeak of the shoes. The buzzer. The brick. The whistle. The crowd. Swish. I left the game, but it'll never leave me.
There are over 360,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us are going pro in something other than sports.
Great minds think differently. 32 different majors. Dozens of different sports. Hundreds of different places to learn. Thousands of different faces. Endless different possibilities. Great minds think differently. You have what it takes. Take it to Tech.
One of the many nice scenes that you can see around the city of San Francisco. Looking down across the bay and the sun trying to peek through today. There's what everybody's playing for, the Emerald Bowl trophy. The facsimile of the Golden Gate Bridge, not to scale, featured on the trophy. And right now, Utah leading 20-7 over Georgia Tech, 4:40 left to go here in the second half as flags come down.
Got 12 players in the huddle. That's a 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
And out of a timeout, that's really not good. Travis Latondras was the 12th guy in who was trying to get off the field, but the MAC officiating crew caught him.
Well, and it really is a penalty you shouldn't have throughout the course of the season, but also when we go back to our opening report, Duke Castiglione. Now, he's having both teams on the same sidelines can create some substitution problems.
So now 2nd and 7. Ganther, the running back, stopped by Eric Henderson. Henderson only his first tackle for the very talented defensive end. Let's go a little old school. Frank Broyles. That's what he looked like. Number 51 as a quarterback. Of course, you won't see that anymore.
I mean, I wasn't around to see it, but I heard he could sling it. And Frank Broyles, I do remember him calling a couple of my games back in the 80s when I was fortunate enough to play at UCLA, and used to sit in the booth next to Keith Jackson. That was a heck of a duo.
Now in the College Football Hall of Fame is Frank, as Ganther catches the pass for a first down. Ganther coming out of the backfield, his first catch, good for 9 yards, and the clock stops with 3:57 to go in the first half.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about that matchup between Texas and USC. Is it one of the great games of all time? And I know one thing, Frank Broyles coached in a game that they called the game of the century. Texas against his Arkansas team. Darrell Royal, the head coach for the Longhorns. 15-14.
Wow. He was at Arkansas from 1958 through 1976.
Texas won that game.
Ratliff trying to make something out of nothing. And he might have been over the line of scrimmage, but he completes it to Brian Hernandez. Very close to the line of scrimmage.
Now they're going to rule that he was behind the line of scrimmage, that it was a legal forward pass. And Ratliff has shown a lot of strength throwing from the pocket. I mean, I've been very impressed with his arm strength, his accuracy, his footwork. Getting some pressure and showing the ability to move within the pocket and to throw the football on the run. That's not an easy throw going to your left. Ratliff just continues to impress. When you go back to the BYU game, Pam, over 100 yards rushing.
You see Ratliff's already set the Emerald Bowl record with the 3 touchdown passes, and they're going to review it upstairs. The 46 was the line of scrimmage, and from up here, it looked like he was over it. They let go around the 45, but they're going to take a look at it upstairs. Let's go back. 46, line of scrimmage.
Yeah, right at the 46. Ratliff's going to face some pressure. He's going to escape to his left. And it's, I think that he's right.
He's at the
46, you know,
no,
46
I think he's at the 45.
to 45.
I think he was over the line of scrimmage.
Well, you know, about 7 or 8 years ago, they used to try to rule where the football was as it released out of the quarterback's hands, and now they just rule where the quarterback is in terms of his feet. And this could very easily be ruled over the line of scrimmage. I mean, he let that ball go about a half step earlier there, and the right foot was just over the 46-yard line. Keep an eye on his right foot, because that's the foot that's going to be planted when he throws the football, and he is, you know, I don't know, a quarter yard past the 46-yard line. Takes a pretty good shot on delivery as well.
Very close as to where he was when he let go of the football. Again, it has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call.
And once again, moving to his left, not an easy throw. And he got some great help from Hernandez coming back to make the catch. This has been a big game for the Utes as far as their wide receiver core is concerned.
Nick Define, the referee, talking to the folks upstairs. And another possibility is, was this a catch? And Hernandez had it.
I think that's a clean catch by Hernandez, and a high degree of difficulty catch. Coming back and helping his quarterback, a quarterback that was under duress. Yeah, that's a big part of being a wide receiver at the college and the pro level, is when a quarterback breaks the pocket and he's moving outside, he's got pressure, he's got defenders after him on the run. What can you do as a wide receiver to make some violent movement and gain some separation from defensive backs? Give your quarterback a picture down the field and help him out. Hernandez did a pretty fine job on that last play.
There was indisputable evidence that the quarterback was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the football. The ball was at the 45-yard line. A 5-yard penalty for an illegal forward pass. Loss of down. It's second down.
And so they did rule that he was about a quarter yard beyond the 46-yard line. Ball's going to be snapped right at the 46. Ratliff, again with some strong footwork, almost slips inside, escapes, and then the right foot's going to be planted just beyond the 46-yard line. That's a nice job between the officiating crew and the people upstairs to get that call right.
And you see the illegal forward pass does indeed bring a loss of down.
You wonder if this crew got together, Pam, and said, hey, let's tighten up our game after what happened last night in that Michigan-Nebraska football game. We don't want any negative press coming out of the Emerald Bowl.
Good job, as you mentioned, David, getting together. Nick Define, the referee. Sam Dudek's the communicator. They get it right, and it's now 2nd and 10 from just beyond midfield on the Utah side of the ball, or the field, excuse me. Ratliff, that time behind the line of scrimmage, and he's able to complete it to Hernandez again. Hernandez, with his 3rd catch of the day, got that in front of Reuben Houston. Tonight at 8 Eastern, ESPN's coverage of Capital One Bowl Week continues. Oregon takes on Oklahoma in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. That game also available in sparkling high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Yeah, we talked about LSU and Miami being a great pre-New Year's game. That's a heck of a game, Oklahoma and Oregon. And Oklahoma got off to a slow start, but they've been tough down the stretch.
Keith Jackson's calling it, too. That's always fun. That one is skipped into the hands of Derek Richards, incomplete. And fourth down coming up. So Georgia Tech going to get the football back, perhaps.
Richards doing his best to negotiate a catch with this officiating crew. Nice effort, tough to tell from that angle. But with the naked eye, it sure looked like the ball hit the turf. The Utes are going to be forced to punt. There's a good shot of it, and then the ball definitely did come up off the grass. It's been a struggle for these players, Pam, to negotiate this turf as well.
Louis Sakota in for the punt. Reuben Houston lets it sail over his head, and it goes into the end zone. So with 3:23 left to go and 2 timeouts left, Georgia Tech gets it at the 20. Halftime fast approaching as we throw it over to Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Pam, Lou Holtz and Mark May alongside. As always, coming up at halftime, Tony Dungy is back with the Colts, expected to coach the Colts this weekend as they start to prepare for the playoffs. Also, the mayhem at the Alamo Bowl last night that you guys alluded to. We'll talk about that a little bit. And also look ahead to tonight's Pacific Life Holiday Bowl between Oregon and Oklahoma.
And I'll tell you what direction the Michigan team's going. And are they going up or down?
And I'll explain to you where Nebraska's going, up or down.
Everybody's going up or down. A lot of elevators coming up at halftime. Make sure you get on the one that's going up, Pam.
All right, we look forward to that, guys, as we check in. I'm sure Lloyd Carr taking some heat today back home in Ann Arbor. P.J. Daniels slips away momentarily, but Martell Burnett playing a very solid game. A sack now and 3 tackles for the big guy from L.A.
Well, the Utah defense really made a transition about mid-season. They were able to start getting some pressure on the quarterback. They were able to get some defense against the run, some stops. This defense really struggled. We talked about the personnel turnover, the great players that moved on off that 2004 team, and it took this defense about a half a season to get their feet back under it.
Reggie Ball using his feet. Again, slipping down. Gary Anderson is the defensive coordinator, the first-year defensive coordinator, played at Utah. And he coached with Kyle Whittingham when they were both at Idaho State. There's Whittingham, who was the defensive coordinator last year, and we asked Coach Anderson what it's like to, where the head guy had your job the year before, and he said that it's great to have Whittingham. He lets him run the show, Whittingham does, but it's great to have Kyle on the sidelines to run things by.
Well, and Kyle is not too bad a coach to bounce things off of when you're at the success you had a year ago.
P.J. Daniels gets the first down. Nice run for Daniels as he gets it up to the 35-yard line. Another tackle for Burnett. Daniels now with 89 yards on the ground.
And a nice job by Reggie Ball. Defensive end's going to show quickly. Deals the ball off with the left hand, and that's pretty nice execution from the quarterback position. And once again, P.J. Daniels showing his toughness. If you're going to run the ball and be the featured ball carrier for Chan Gailey, you've got to be hard-nosed, and you've got to get the ball north and south.
So now first down from the 35, and incomplete, throwing to Johnson again. Weddle on the coverage. But Calvin Johnson, one of the best receivers in the country, with 2 catches so far today for only 19 yards.
Well, and you look at the styles of both of these defenses, both Utah and Georgia Tech, they really sell out to stop the run. And both defenses are going to try to outnumber you inside. They're going to make you put the ball in the air, and it makes for a pretty exciting game, because you know as this game moves on and as we get into the second half, both Reggie Ball and Brett Ratliff are going to have to make more plays in the passing game.
Ball making a play, but it's dropped. Chris Woods, a senior from College Park, Georgia, had it right in the hands. Buck 28 and a 3rd and 10 facing Tech.
Well, and I don't like that route or the depth of that route. You're facing a 2nd and 10, and you're hitting a running back basically at the line of scrimmage. And even if he makes that catch, he's not going to have much room to turn the ball upfield. I think in that situation, especially when you're trailing 13 points, you got the guys outside, you got the weapons, get the ball down the field.
3 receivers in at 3rd and 10. with time, steps up and throws it complete to Bilbo for the first down. Demarius Bilbo, another big target with his third catch of the day, picks up 14.
Well, I love the back foot by Reggie Ball, the right foot, as he loaded up to make this throw. And a lot of people talk about Reggie Ball, his lack of his height, size, but he stands tall in the pocket. Watch the right foot. He keeps the right foot loaded, then boom, out comes the football. That's terrific footwork by a third-year starter, and he laid the ball right on Demarius Bilbo.
Tech still with 2 timeouts left. As Ball rolls away and throws it away. Everybody covered, and the clock stops with 1:15 left.
Well, and Reggie Ball only completed about 49% of his passes on the year. And you look at a guy who's a seasoned quarterback, a guy who's been playing in the ACC, Pam, now for 3 years, 48%. You say, hey, he isn't getting it done. Chan Gailey, though, says to the contrary, that we ask him to throw the ball away a lot, and that really plays into the low percentage.
Remember, he threw 18 interceptions last year. He has 10 this year coming into this game and has thrown 2 today. That would make it a dozen. Against only 11 touchdown passes this year. And he's going the wrong way. Finally throws it away, and that's grounded. You have to get outside of the tackle box and get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. And I don't think he did either. Definitely didn't get the ball back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, you don't have to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage as long as you're throwing to a receiver behind the line of scrimmage. And he was trying to get the ball to Chris Woods.
Number 24 is coming back to catch the football.
And that's what they've ruled on the field.
And Kyle Whittingham, he's going to fight for his team, but I think this is the right call. And Reggie Ball's going to buy time. Now watch, he's going to throw the ball upfield, and he skips it right in front of Chris Woods. And I think that's close enough to Chris Woods and showed enough of an effort to get it to his backup tailback. That's a correct call by this officiating crew.
Good job of picking up the flag by the MAC crew. 3rd and 10 from the 49. Ball zips it out to Johnson, and it skips off of his hands, incomplete. 1:03 left to go.
And Calvin Johnson, if you were to talk to some NFL scouts, and he's not going to be able to come out in the draft at the earliest before next spring, over a year from now. But you talk to NFL scouts, Pam, and they almost to a man say that this guy has the most unharnessed talent of any wide receiver at the college level.
In fact, Chan Gailey says he's the best receiver he's ever been around. And remember, Gailey spent a lot of time in the National Football League, worked with guys like Michael Irvin. He says this kid is the best, but a true sophomore cannot enter the draft until next year.
He's got a ways to go before he can be ranked in the Michael Irvin League.
Weddle with the fair catch after a 25-yard Ben Arndt punt. Capital One Bowl Week continues tomorrow on ESPN with a pair of great games. At noon Eastern, Lawrence Maroney running for Minnesota against Virginia in the Gaylord Hotels Music City Bowl. Follow that with Steve Spurrier in South Carolina battling Missouri in the Independence Bowl. Both games available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. For more information, log on to ESPN.
Glenn Mason with another visit to Nashville. Golden Gophers played in that game a year ago. Big win against Alabama.
See if Utah can get something going as Hernandez catches the ball. Hernandez gets about 8 yards, and here's a kid who's playing on a bad ankle that will need surgery once the season is over, but he's been toughing it out.
Well, and Utah lost their top receiver, John Madsen. They led the team with 55 receptions and was really featured along with Latondras and Hernandez. As we took a look at the impressive Ratliff numbers, and Hernandez really had a nice effect on this offense, helped this offense open up midway through the season.
Ratliff over 200 yards passing, completes it to Hernandez, who is tackled down by Kenny Scott. 46 seconds left to go. Utah with 2 timeouts. And there's Brian Johnson, the starting quarterback. Just a terrific season. And then again, that New Mexico game, that's when Madsen broke his ankle and Johnson tore his ACL.
Actually, you could easily say that they lost their top 2 offensive threats in that second to last game against New Mexico, and Can't say enough about Brian Johnson's performance through 10 games.
He was 4th in the nation in total offense when he went down, and he finds Hernandez again. That combination good for 3 completions in this drive. And a flag is down in the Utah backfield. And it's coming back. A hold against the Utes will negate that big gain.
And you look at Kyle Whittingham, and you know that Kyle Whittingham is upset about the 15, or actually the 10-yarder. He's going to have to come back, and the Utes are going to be forced back in their own end.
Holding on the offense, number 78. That's a 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
But also on the other side of the coin, Whittingham just saw the throw that Ratliff made down the sideline, and that is throwing talent. And Ratliff can drop that ball in on a dime down the sidelines. I think Ratliff is a quarterback that we're going to hear a lot about down the line, this Utah team.
It was a heck of a throw. It was a 22-yard completion as Ganther skips out of trouble up to around the 31-yard line. Chris Reese, Avery Reuben Houston with the tackle. As Utah now has 1 timeout left with 32 seconds left to go.
Utah, that's their second charge timeout.
Well, Brett Ratliff, if you're just joining us, making only his 2nd start for Utah. First year playing for this team, came from Butte College, playing only because Brian Johnson has a torn ACL, and he's already set the record with 3 touchdown passes in the first half.
Well, can you imagine the pressure going into that BYU game? Not only if they win, they get to move on to a bowl game, but just to play against BYU in a big rivalry game, your first start, only 4 attempts at quarterback going into that game as a JC transfer. And look at the numbers he had in that game. And Pam, even looking beyond the 240 yards, the 4 touchdowns, he had 112 rushing yards. To me, what might have been the most impressive stat was that he didn't turn the ball over. Not 1 turnover in his first game as a starting quarterback. And what a win. That's a win that Utah fans are going to remember for a long time.
Look at him right now, just smiling and laughing it up on the sidelines. Very unflappable, very confident young man. We asked Travis Latondras. He said he saw a little bit of nerves in him the Thursday before the BYU game, but he said once they got on the field, you looked in his eye, he was locked on, locked in, and everybody felt very comfortable with him leading the team.
Yeah, they talked about him being nervous in the walkthrough, but you know, we met with him yesterday, Pam. He didn't look very nervous coming into the bowl game, and he sure hasn't played that way.
He looked like he was going to fall asleep soon. He was just so relaxed. On that pass, again going for Latondras, but Houston getting a tip, getting his hand on the ball. So now 3rd and 17 coming up.
Well, and I'm not sure that ball was tipped. That ball got on Latondras a little quicker than he was anticipating. And he was deflected. Just barely deflected, and Georgia Tech secondary starting to react to some of those inside routes by Latondras down the field.
Yeah, you saw the ball change direction as Houston got a finger on it. Ganther stopped by Oliver with 21 seconds left to go in the first half. Seconds of playing time. The Nexium halftime report. We will head back to the studios. Reese Davis, Mark May, and of course, Coach Lou Holtz, who I have a feeling will be watching South Carolina play a little football coming up.
Chan Gailey going to use a timeout. 21 seconds to go before halftime. Might have a return up his sleeve, or maybe even a block on.
They put some pressure on Sakota already today, but have not gotten close to the football. There's Coach Gailey, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys for a couple of years, and has agreed to a 5-year extension at Georgia Tech.
Well, and you look at the toughness of schedule for Georgia Tech this season. And look at their non-conference games. They have to line up against the likes of Georgia and Auburn. I mean, even Connecticut isn't a patsy game, non-conference. And then you play in a league, Pam, I think you and I both agree, the ACC has become the premier league in college football, especially with the addition of Miami and Virginia Tech. Not an easy task for Georgia Tech to recruit and to play against this reloaded Atlantic Coast Conference.
Boston College coming in as well. Put a couple of seconds more, or a couple of seconds back on the clock as this first half slogs along.
Microphone don't work now.
I think this is a good decision by Chan Gailey, especially when you take into account the condition of the field, the slipperiness of the turf.
So 23 seconds left to go. Sakota punting from around his 22. And Reuben Houston, good punt as Houston has to retreat and goes down in his tracks at the 23-yard line. There's a good special teams tackle by Brock Condi. Condi is the snapper. Condi coming down, and Houston tackled with 16 seconds left to go.
And just sharp execution by the Utah punt outfit there. Both getting good blocking along the front, not allowing pressure with the punter, and then a superb job of covering that punt downfield. Really snuffs out a Georgia Tech threat here late.
Look at this. They're going to try to advance the ball. Ball throwing it hard for Bilbo, who's behind everybody. And Bilbo catches it at the 7-yard line. Demarius Bilbo got behind everybody and made a huge 65-yard catch.
And the Utes played this fairly casually in the secondary. I mean, there was no deception in this play. Bilbo lined up on the left side, and he just flat out ran a go route down the left sideline. Reggie Ball rolling to his left had Bilbo all the way. And this gives you a bit of a feel for Reggie Ball's arm strength. 3 wide receiver set. Bilbo's just going to continue on the go route. Weddle, Evans, that ball was played casually by Utah. The one thing you don't do in the secondary is let a wide receiver get past your level, especially the safeties. That's surprising, the way that Utah, Pam, has executed in the first half to fall asleep on that play. And it's probably going to cost them at least 3 points.
65-yard pass play. So Georgia Tech, which just burned its final timeout, first down from the 12-yard line.
And take a look from up top. Again, 3 wide receivers. Reggie Ball doing a nice job moving to his left. 3-man rush. And you wonder how Utah allowed Bilbo to just stroll past their deepest defense.
That is the longest pass play of the year. 65 yards to Bilbo. The previous long, 59 yards to Calvin Johnson. And Travis Bell, who has missed his last 4 field goals, is in to try a 29-yard field goal. And Bell snaps the slide. He's been streaky all season, and he nails that 29-yarder with 3 seconds left to go in the first half. So Gailey deciding with no timeouts not to take a crack at the end zone with 6 seconds left on the clock.
Well, and without a timeout, I think that's a solid call by Chan Gailey. Shows some confidence in the field goal kicker that he will probably need down the stretch in this football game. But most importantly, Pam, the Yellow Jackets were trailing 20-zip. And they are right back in this football game. I've already said a couple times, I think Georgia Tech needed not 1, but maybe 2 or 3 wake-up calls to get into this football game. I think they might have underestimated a 6-5 Utah team coming in.
That field goal set up by this 65-yard pass play to Bilbo.
And you'd think in this situation that this would be a traditional Hail Mary, but it really isn't. Now, you don't have 3 wide receivers running at the same depth looking for a tip or deflection. You just have Bilbo continuing on a go route. And I think Utah's secondary was surprised by Reggie Ball's arm strength. I think in playing that ball in the air, Pam, they didn't have confidence in Reggie Ball, that Reggie Ball could throw the ball that far.
David Jordan with the kickoff. Derek Richards taken down just short of the 40-yard line. by Jordan, the kicker. How about that? You kick off and then you get the tackle. Boy, Travis Latondras was spectacular in the first half with 3 touchdown catches. They led 20-0 at one point, but Tech has come back and now trail at 20-10. Let's join Reese Davis now in the studio for the Nexium halftime report. Reese.
All right, Pam, so the Yellow Jackets getting back into the game, 20-10. Glad to have you along. Lou Holtz, Mark May alongside. We'll talk to them in just a little bit. Tony Dungy is back with the Colts just 1 week after his son died of an apparent suicide. Colts brass had told Dungy to stay away from the team and with his family for as long as he needed. This morning early, he showed up to the surprise of some of the Colts players he is expected to coach this weekend in the regular season finale against Arizona. Still to come here on the Nexium halftime report. We'll look back to what happened last night in the MasterCard Alamo Bowl and try to sort out some of the craziness at the end of the Michigan-Nebraska game. Stay where you are. Why are all those players coming on the field?
It's a Capital One Bowl Week doubleheader. South Carolina takes on Missouri, plus Miami battles LSU. The Independence Bowl at 3:30 and the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl at 7:30. Friday on ESPN.
Singular customers text CITY to 243 to download the Coming to Your City ringtone.
Where else will you find a city shaped by such an uncommon mix of visions, hopes, and dreams? Where else will you find a city at every street corner, in every neighborhood, and on every hilltop shows you the familiar fused to the fantastic, the unconventional merged to the everyday, the awe-inspiring right alongside the heart-tugging? Where else? Only in San Francisco.
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Oh, where have I heard that before?
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Okay, I ate it.
I can't believe I ate that whole thing.
Take your Alka-Seltzer.
People overdo it. That's why for 75 years they've reached for Alka-Seltzer to break up and dissolve away stomach discomfort and pain fast.
Good night, dear.
Drop one crumb and you're dead.
Alka-Seltzer, a rich history of relief.
King Kong is the jaw-dropping, heart-stopping epic we've been waiting for all year. You'll feel like a kid again, staring at the big screen. What you see will spin your head 6 ways from Sunday. King Kong, rated PG-13, now playing.
Welcome back to the Nexium halftime report.
Tremendous first half performance by Travis Latondras, 3 touchdown catches. Utah with a 20-10 lead over Georgia Tech, and the Yellow Jackets have some work to do if they're going to match the finish that we had in the MasterCard Alamo Bowl between Michigan and Nebraska last night.
All right, last play of the game right here. Henny's got the snap, 3-man rush. He sets, he fires underneath, and here comes the hook and lateral. It's Avant to Manningham. Now back to Avant again. Avant throwing it across the field on a lateral to Manningham at the 45. He's racing to the right. He's got nobody behind him now. And Manningham is lateraling at the Avant. They're going backwards. Avant will heave it back across the field. This lateral is caught by Beal. He is hit, fumbles the ball. The Wolverines pick it up. Hart's running with it. Nebraska's got the whole team on the field. And Michigan's
they haven't blown the whistle.
No, racing up the right sideline. Tyler Ecker to the 15-yard line.
Oh, you've got it.
Knocked out of bounds. Now the whole Nebraska team is on the field.
Did you know that play wasn't over?
Not at all. What happened was I was on the sideline watching the development of the play, and I got splashed. And then I didn't realize that I walked out. Everybody was jumping up and down. And I came out here about I was on the hash, and I saw the play end here on the right side of the sideline. And we won, I guess.
Well, I think we had a great drive, and some things happened there at the end that I'll have to see on film. But I think our players deserve better. If they're going to have instant replay, they've got to have a coach's challenge, because otherwise you have a guy in the booth that nobody knows, and he makes decisions on whether a play should be reviewed or not, and we get no explanation. Even the officials don't get any explanation.
Well, I've got a little bit of an explanation. What happened to Lloyd Carr a couple of times. He had to spend 2 timeouts in order to get plays reviewed. That's not part of the replay rule. What happened on the first one, the play ruled a touchdown for Nebraska. It was later overturned as an incomplete pass. The replay official in the booth, according to Don Lucas, who is the supervisor of officials for the Sun Belt Conference, spoke with him today. The replay official in the booth was pushing the button, trying to get the attention of the crew on the field. There was some type of mechanical error. They had to reset the system. By that time, Carr had blown a timeout. The error came because they could have given Carr back his timeout had it been communicated from the booth that they were trying to stop play. All that's neither here nor there. You could splice this up with the officiating for a long time, Mark. The bigger picture here is Michigan, officiating or not, had this game in control, it seemed, with about 11.5 minutes to go and couldn't finish the deal.
And they couldn't put the game away, and they should have. In that situation, Lloyd Carr, you just heard him say the players deserve better. Well, guess what? They do. They deserve a better job out of the coaching staff at Michigan. When you're up by 11 points in the fourth quarter with 11.5 minutes to go, you're supposed to put your opponent away. Let's take a bigger picture look at the Michigan program. Since 1999, Michigan has lost a minimum of 3 games or more per season. They lost 5 games this season for the first time since 1984. Yes, the players deserve better, Lloyd Carr, but the coaching staff better start working harder because remember, you're 1-4 against Jim Tressel. And I think a guy named John Cooper, his last 5 games coaching against Michigan was 1-4 in his last 5 games against Michigan.
Well, Michigan has high standards. I remember in 1968, we were fortunate enough to beat Michigan. They went 8-2, and they replaced Bump Elliott with Bo Schembechler. The other thing is, you cannot believe, ladies and gentlemen, how disappointed your fans are after you lose a bowl game, regardless how good it was. I remember we're at Notre Dame, we played Florida State, tremendous football game. Our starting quarterback's out. I was so proud of our team. You get up the next morning, everybody's upset, everybody's complaining, and that's why it's such a great win for Callahan at Nebraska. Now the people are positive, they're looking forward to next year. It's a tremendous asset.
And I think the other thing, Coach, is after you lose a bowl game, particularly like that in that manner, it's the entire offseason, the offseason workouts, the recruiting, the alumni. Everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth.
In 1987, we played Jackie Sherrill at A&M in the Cotton Bowl. And we did not play well. And I had to go to Japan to coach the next day. I was on an airplane. Jackie Sherrill's on the airplane with me and just sticking the needle in me. I was so bad. I mean, 14 hours. But that's when I sat down and I said, this is going to change. I had one guy crying in the locker room after I was Chris Zorich. He didn't even play. You take something that's disappointing, you get upset, you say enough's enough, and you move on. It may be the best thing that happened to Michigan.
You know, I played 4 years for Jackie. Jackie would never.
Oh, hey.
Hey, you know, I do want to take issue with one thing. You might have seen the font on the screen. That's the writing that you see there. It said Michigan not an elite program. I think Michigan's still an elite program. It's just not an elite team right now. I think there's a difference. Well, they haven't won at Michigan standards for a while.
Right.
But I still think it's an elite program.
That's your opinion.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, the views opposed or presented by you are not necessarily reflective of all of us.
That's true, but do you think the alumni of Michigan this morning think they're an elite program?
Probably not. Not an elite team, anyway. Probably still an elite program.
All
right, let's move on. Let's move on here now. The FedEx Orange Bowl will be played in just a few days, and A.J. Nicholson, linebacker for the Seminoles, will not be part of it. Police in Hollywood, Florida, are investigating an allegation that Nicholson sexually assaulted a 19-year-old woman at the team hotel as the Seminoles get set to take on the Nittany Lions. Now, no charges have been filed in this case, and the police say that Nicholson is cooperating. However, Bobby Bowden has sent his leading tackler home for a violation of team rules. He did not say exactly which rule Nicholson violated. Still to come here on the NXIVM Halftime Report. You think you know exactly what D'Angelo Williams did in the Motor City Bowl? I wouldn't be so sure. He did something you might not know about.
This Halftime Report is brought to you by NXIVM. Talk to your doctor about prescription NXIVM.
Me? I'm a problem solver. There's a problem, I solve it. One problem I thought I'd solved? My acid reflux disease. I thought it was just bad heartburn. But when I went back to my doctor, he told me over time stomach acid had damaged the lining of my esophagus. He prescribed NXIVM. Said I needed more than heartburn relief. My esophagus needed repair. NXIVM healed the erosions in my esophagus. And one prescription NXIVM pill a day keeps me healed and relieves my heartburn. So I don't just feel better, I am better. My doctor did say other serious stomach conditions may still exist, and headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain could be side effects of NXIVM.
Talk to your doctor about Nexium and find out if a free trial is right for you.
Even the best problem solvers need a little help sometimes.
Nexium, the healing purple pill. If you can't afford your medications, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Texas and USC, the Rose Bowl presented by Citi, January 4th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. ABC will broadcast the game in high definition. You can also hear it on the radio, on ESPN Radio. Showdown, great tradition, going for the national championship. And it is the happiest place on earth, Disneyland, because the Trojans are there to see Mickey and Minnie. USC taking in Disneyland in Anaheim. A little known fact is that Pete Carroll is actually the one who saved Belle's father in Beauty and the Beast. People may not be aware of that. Might also not be aware that D'Angelo Williams of Memphis, who is listed as having 30 carries for 233 yards in the Motor City Bowl against Akron, Memphis now says 31 for 238. So they're going to keep and submit this to the NCAA and try to get D'Angelo 5 more yards at the end of his career. And later on here tonight on ESPN, it'll be the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl, Oregon and Oklahoma. And the Sooners come in having struggled a little bit in recent bowl games. They've lost the last 2 BCS title games, haven't scored 20 points in either of them. Winner in the Holiday Bowl has scored at least 34 over the past 2 years. So have to see if Oklahoma can find a little offense against Oregon. Keith Jackson will have the call for us tonight on ESPN.
Won't be long until the Qualcomm Stadium is rocking for the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl game matching the Oregon Ducks and the Oklahoma Sooners. History of this ball game, shootout, and it wouldn't be a surprise to anybody that it happens again down Fouts because they bought all the tickets to this game.
Well, Oklahoma comes in with a healthy Adrian Peterson. That could be bad news for Oregon. They might have to get into that shootout, and I think they're ready for it. Spread offense behind 2 very exciting young quarterbacks.
Now to the field, let's join Todd Harris.
Well, Keith, tonight, call it creativity or boredom, but the Oregon Ducks unveil their 9th different uniforms this year. Many people around college football say they are the 9 ugliest uniforms that have been unveiled. The Ducks don't care. The seniors are given the choice what to wear, and they are going with this combination. You won't believe it. You'll have to tune in to watch it. For more on the Oklahoma Sooners, let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, the Oklahoma Sooners secondary suffered a blow when their best defensive back, Tajoki Onyenegachi, was suspended December 17th for violating team rules. In his place is a veteran, Eric Bassey, will get the start, his 3rd of the year. He's got 26 career starts overall, and co-defensive coordinator Brent Venables said he's excited and motivated to show that he's a worthy replacement. We'll see if he can hold up against the tough spread offense of Oregon. Keith?
It'll be the 28th playing of the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl between the Ducks and the Sooners. Now let's rejoin Reese Davis.
All right, Keith, looking forward to Oregon and Oklahoma. And Lou, you know, a lot of people thought that when Kellen Clemens went down, the fine quarterback for the Ducks, that their offense would fly south for the rest of the season. It didn't really happen.
Well, they've had 2 quarterbacks step up. Kellen Clemens was so good they had to replace him with 2 different quarterbacks. You look at Mr. Dixon and you look at Mr. Lee. Which one will play? The one that has the best hand. In one football game, Dennis Dixon had a tremendous game, very good runner. But against University of California, when Oregon came back to win in overtime, the guy that did it was Brady Lee, the brother of Ryan Lee. They just look at him over there, they throw the ball well, and nobody expected Oregon to finish 10-1, particularly after they lost Kellen Clemens. So the only question I have is what is going to be Oregon's mental attitude when they're so disappointed to be in the Holiday Bowl. Remember what happened to California last year.
Well, look at Oklahoma. They're excited to be there after their start this season. They're led by a couple of young players. One, Adrian Peterson, you know, but how about their quarterback, Rhett Bomar? Very mobile, has been able to move the offense, has gotten better and better each game, but he's behind a veteran offensive line, and that's what helped this Oklahoma offense move. Looking to move in the pocket, threw for 9 touchdowns, but he threw for 9 interceptions, but that's the growth process of a young quarterback. But here, Adrian Peterson back healthy again. He's averaged 157 yards his last 4 games. This is the running back that we saw last year as a freshman that was so dominant. This is the athlete that the Oregon defense has to contend with. If they can slow down Adrian Peterson, they have a chance to win this game. But if Adrian Peterson starts ripping off long runs early in this football game, edge goes to Oklahoma.
You know, Bomar might be one of those guys that we talk about this week, potential breakout performer for next year. Oklahoma played the toughest schedule in the country this year, 7 bowl opponents on their schedule. They took on UCLA, they had TCU, they had Texas. Stoops played a lot of freshmen. You'll be able to see those Oklahoma youngsters going against Oregon. Pacific Life Holiday Bowl, 8 o'clock Eastern Time after we finish from San Francisco. Keith Jackson will be on the call, available in high definition as Oklahoma tries to end on an uptick. We'll see if the Ducks can win their 11th. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time tonight for the always entertaining, usually high-scoring Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. A lot of high scoring going on, courtesy of one Ute. Travis Latondras, 3 times he visited the end zone. Utes on top of the Jackets by 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SUV Championships.
Anybody can ride an SUV. Not everybody rides it right.
Pushing it too hard.
Without respect for what they're capable of, it's easy to see why a lot of riders take the role. SUVs are big and powerful. And on top of one, you can feel almost invincible.
Easy now, big fella.
Keeping your SUV in off course.
Look at that control.
That's the idea, right?
Just about tip-off time. The 76ers will take on.
Iverson makes a hard barrel.
Returns to the lineup. Plays hurt.
Of course, the shoulder has been in. Despite the injury,
Iverson drops 23 and has a career
5 injuries to the right knee.
Iverson pays the price.
This guy is a warrior.
Time to go to work.
The ball up the floor, a bounce past it, Dang, free throw line extended. Dang back out to Heinrich, hits Gordon on the baseline, the shot is up. A 3, we're going to overtime. You're listening to Bulls Basketball on ESPN Radio 1000. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Welcome home.
This is it. The Chevy Red Tag event ends January 3rd. Get to your Chevy dealer now for low red tag prices on most Chevy vehicles. Like the 2006 Chevy Cobalt LS with an EPA estimated 34 highway miles per gallon. Qualified lessees can lease an 06 Cobalt LS Coupe for around $188 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for lease details. Hurry. The Chevy Red Tag event ends January 3rd. See your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
3400.
This is the trophy the conferences are playing for, the Bowl Challenge Cup, presented by Cooper Tires. This trophy goes, please give me your rapt attention, Mark and Lou. This goes to the conference with the best winning percentage among those conferences with at least 3 teams participating in bowl games. Best winning percentage, that conference takes home the Bowl Challenge Cup. Pac-10, ACC 2-0 so far, but the ACC in trouble against the so far winless Mountain West, as Utah right now has a 20-10 lead over Georgia Tech. We've yet to see an SEC team play in the postseason. Georgia Tech struggling for a while, finding some offense late. 10-point game headed to the 3rd quarter.
This halftime report is brought to you by Nexium. Talk to your doctor about prescription Nexium.
Net Zero rockets through the internet with breathtaking speed, shattering dial-up speed records. Only $9.95, half the price of AOL with greater customer satisfaction. Net Zero high speed, defending your right to fast internet connections for less.
The movie America's top critics are raving about is now nominated for 2 Golden Globes, including Best Supporting Actor George Clooney, and hailed as one of the year's best films.
Why am I being investigated?
Syriana, rated R, now playing.
Do Nikon people take better vacations? Or does the Nikon D50 just make it look that way? The digital SLR the world's been waiting for is here. The affordable new Nikon D50 makes taking incredible digital pictures so incredibly easy. Just about anyone can do it.
Life offers a simple formula for long-term success. Protect what really matters. Grow it with care. That's our approach to planning for your future at Prudential Retirement. For decades, we've used our strength to help people and organizations plan for retirement with intelligent retirement solutions designed to both grow wealth and protect it. Growth and protection. The strong and steady approach to retirement at Prudential Financial.
Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Second half of the Emerald Bowl about to get underway as we join you from San Francisco. Cloudy day, starting to get a little bit more chilly. It was terrific for Utah as they got out to a 20-0 lead, but now lead Georgia Tech 20-10 as we get set for the second half. Pam Moore joined by David Norrie. And boy, Utah looked great. They scored touchdowns at 3 of their first 4 drives to go up 20-0, but then a couple of key mistakes and Tech's back in it.
Yeah, Utah came up with a couple plays that were a little bit questionable. Eric Weddle rolling to his left, the ill-advised throw down the field. And Georgia Tech comes up with an interception in the end zone. Remember, this is a first down play in Georgia Tech territory. The Utes looked like they had a shot there to maybe close out this football game early in the second quarter. And then late in the half, 20-7, Utah. The secondary for the Utes allows Bilbo to get loose and saunter by them late in the second quarter, and the Yellow Jackets were able to turn that into an additional 3 points, 20-10 at half. And look at the total yards, Pam. 251 for Utah, 297 for Georgia Tech, and really the Yellow Jackets were faced with a situation where they may have only scored 7 points in the first half without the play to Bilbo.
That's right. Reggie Ball throwing a couple of interceptions in the first half as Rashawn Grant gets the opening kickoff in the second half and makes a very good return out of it. Rashawn Grant tackled down around the 47-yard line. Taylor Miller making the stop, but that's a 42-yard return for Grant and great opening position here for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, in Utah, when they had a shot to blow this game wide open with the 20-0 lead, I hope they're aware of the way that this Georgia Tech defense has played in the second half this season. That Yellow Jackets have been almost impenetrable on defense, with the exception of the Virginia Tech game, giving up just over 5 points per game in the second half.
P.J. Daniels getting things started, getting it into Utah territory as he picks up 4. P.J. in the first half, 89 yards on 15 carries. And again, his last couple of bowl efforts have been tremendous. Had 307 yards on the ground 2 years ago in the Humanitarian Bowl. That's an NCAA Bowl record. And then 117 yards last year for Georgia Tech in their bowl game, and working on another 100-yard effort. Second and 6 as Ball throws the ball for the first time in the second half. Bilbo can't catch it. That was right in his hands. Covered by Kyle Brady. Third down coming up. Let's go down to the field and Duke Castiglione.
Opportunity to talk to both coaches during the half, and Coach Whittingham told me no excuse for what happened on that Hail Mary play. We're very fortunate they didn't put 7 points on the board. They put just 3. He was impressed, though, with his young quarterback, Ratliff, in just his first bowl start. Chan Gailey said that we got to quit killing ourselves on offense. He said we're moving the ball, just not making too many scores. Back to you.
Just the 10 points to show for it. Were it not for that 65-yard pass play to Bilbo, they would just have the 1 touchdown. Ball retreating, goes down as the pass falls incomplete. That's Steve Fafita, first team All Mountain West Conference player, and the big guy comes in and forces Ball to throw it before he wanted to.
Now look at Fafita inside here, and he is a load to handle for any offensive lineman. A year ago against Pittsburgh in the Fiesta Bowl, defensive player of the game. We talked with him yesterday, and he was pretty confident that his line mates, his defensive line mates, were going to be able to dominate this Georgia Tech offensive front.
They certainly outweigh them as Arndt's punt is fair caught by Weddle at the 18-yard line. Only a 30-yard punt for Arndt, who came in averaging 40 yards per punt on the season. Now, David Norrie was talking about Georgia Tech being terrific in the second half as we look at John Tenuta standing up, their defensive coordinator. Those numbers are very, very impressive.
Well, and they become even more impressive when you look at some of the teams that Georgia Tech lined up against this year. Teams like Auburn and Clemson, Virginia, the Hurricanes of Miami, and then you get to finish off with Georgia.
And they lost to Georgia 14-7. Blowing up that play, Joe Anawai from Pensacola coming in, and Ganther goes down quickly.
Well, Anawai getting to play alone inside for most of this ball game against a spread offense. The lone interior lineman in a 3-man front, and he has made some beautiful plays inside, both against the run and getting penetration against the Utah pass offense.
Their best interior defensive lineman showing it on that play as he dropped Ganther for a 4-yard loss. Pressure up the middle, Ratliff escapes and then completes the pass to Chad Jacobson. That's the first time that tight end has caught a ball today. So poise again for Ratliff to get out of trouble.
He is a cool customer. And he's facing a defensive front that is known for pressure, known for confusing offensive line. How about the move by Ratliff to just slip tackles in the pocket? And he, as you said, Pam, kept his composure, very smooth on the run, delivered the ball to the outside.
3 touchdown passes already, an Emerald Bowl record, all of them in the first half to Travis Latondras. And now Utes facing a 3rd and 3. Ball is complete, but behind the line of scrimmage, that's Brent Castile who goes down. Reuben Houston right there. And this will be the 4th straight time that Utah's had to punt.
Reuben Houston getting the reprieve, getting the opportunity to play in the bowl game. You see on the right side of the screen, reading that call all the way. And you can't help but think if Reuben Houston was along for the total ride in defense this year, Georgia Tech would have been going with a lot more man-to-man.
Now Houston fielding Louis Sakota's punt and stopped immediately. Grady Marshall, backup linebacker from Salt Lake City, leading the charge as Houston goes down, loses 3 on that punt return, but Georgia Tech right in this ball game has it when we come back.
Diamond walnuts. Anything else is just nuts.
This is definitely a predator.
The Cave.
There's something in the water! Everybody in a circle! How big was it?
It's big, with special bonus features. The Cave on DVD January 3rd. What's happening to you?
This December, Nissan's got you covered from A to Z. Nissan's A to Z year-end sales event. Get year-end deals on Altima, Armada, Frontier, Maxima, Murano, Pathfinder, Quest, Sentra, Titan, Xterra, Z. Like a $199 per month lease on Ultima with the special edition package at your Nissan dealer now. Style, performance, value. From A to Z.
Still going. Energizer keeps going and going.
Hammer throw is tough. It isn't just you against a 9-pound ball. It's you against yourself. It's pure concentration, and you have to dig deep inside to find every throw. It's brutal. I had to study biomedical engineering just to relax.
There are over 360,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us are going pro in something other than sports.
This telecast is available on ESPN HD, sponsored by Philips Flat TVs with Ambilight. To get ESPN HD, call your cable operator or satellite provider.
Welcome back to San Francisco, as we are available on ESPN HD. You're watching Utah and Georgia Tech. First time these two programs have ever played each other in football. P.J. Daniels slipping a tackle and picking up the first down. Big old P.J. lumbers out to the 43-yard line. Steve Tate now with 6 tackles in the backfield.
P.J. Daniels is going to get some help from Calvin Johnson. Let's see if we can get a freeze right about here. Look at the big guy working downfield. Known for his pass-catching ability, but doing a fine job of blocking. And Daniels just cutting off his waistcloth there, getting north and south. Well, Georgia Tech is going to have the ability to reestablish their run game now that they've cut this lead to 10 points, Pam.
And with that 16-yard run, P.J. over 100 yards on the day as he picks up 2 more. His 6th 100-yard effort this year. Georgia Tech 5-0 in his other 100-yard games. As you see the numbers mounting up, he has 16 career 100-yard games for the senior.
And with just 5 minutes gone in the second quarter, when Utah took that 20-0 lead, yeah, you're really worried about Georgia Tech's ability to continue to run the ball, because that's the way they do things on offense. That's their nature. With the lead being cut to 10 points, Georgia Tech now can be patient. They can keep the ball on the ground.
And they do that as they go back to Daniels again. Well, he might have lost a couple of inches as he was stopped by Vika Casco, senior from Lahaina, Hawaii. Coming to play his college football. Boy, quite a pipeline, actually, from Hawaiians, and not just Hawaiians, but Samoans and Polynesian descent players coming over to play at the University of Utah.
Utah's made a living with the Polynesian and Samoan descent players and really have made them feel at home. It's a big part of their recruiting process, and they have really picked up some stars, both offensively and defensively, over the course of the last 10, 15 years.
3rd and 9, all alone. Cooper, who caught the touchdown pass in the first half. That one was a little low, but he still should have caught it. Toon was right there. For more on the Samoan connection with Utah, let's head down to the field and do Castiglione.
You know, Pam, you were talking about that Polynesian connection, and I asked Coach Whittingham, why? Why are so many guys from Samoa, from Hawaii on this team? He said it goes back to when Coach McBride was here. He said there was a level of trust. They would go in there, establish contact with the families, and the families knew when they sent their kids to Utah, they were going to be taken care of and get a good education. Obviously, it's paid dividends for this program.
Big time as Arndt goes out of bounds at the 11. You got a quick look at Kalani Sataki, their inside linebacker coach for the Utes, helping to get some of these guys over here to play for Coach Whittingham as we come back shortly to San Francisco.
They call it the season of hope, the season of joy, the season of light. When parents seem more like children, and children more like angels. And on behalf of your good neighbors at State Farm, we want to wish you and yours all the hope, joy, and light the season has to bring.
8 million American men have diabetes. 29 million have high blood pressure. 50 million have high cholesterol. Many men with these medical conditions have one thing in common. Their love life just isn't what it used to be.
If this sounds like you, call 1-800-985-1970 or go to mensfax.com for your free Men's Fax Kit. You'll get a booklet about how diabetes, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol may lead to a medical condition that could affect your love life. Plus, you'll get tips to help you talk to your doctor and learn about a medicine that can help. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, your love life could be affected. So get the facts. Call 1-800-985-1970 or visit mensfax.com. You'll be glad you did. Call 1-800-985-1970 or visit mensfax.com today.
1855. Fred Miller brews his best beer yet. It has everything except a name. Then it hits him. Fred Miller's beer. Good call, Fred. Pick up some 1855 lager, our tribute to Fred's first beer.
Now on DVD, you're going to band camp.
Where are your clothes?
American Pie presents.
You're Steve Stifler's younger brother, aren't you?
She seems nice.
Band camp on an all-new unrated DVD. Unwrap it today.
ESPN College Football. The Emerald Bowl is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
It's one of the must-see attractions in San Francisco as you look at Alcatraz just off the coast. We are here at SBC Park, and Utah trying to get its offense, which was terrific early and has bogged down lately. And right on cue, Hernandez makes the catch and then is licked big time. Kenny Scott came up and dropped him. It's a 6th catch for Hernandez, and that one had to hurt the most.
Georgia Tech playing with some considerable cushion on the outside, giving a lot of room to the wide receivers for Utah. You look at all that space. Kenny Scott allows him to pick up the first down and then to stop the things in a hurry. That was a pretty solid tackle.
Scott, a second-year starter, a junior. And it was a first down for Hernandez as Ganther spins his way for a couple of yards. Okay, Michael Hall coming up with the stop. We are joining you from San Francisco, California. Georgia Tech trailing Utah 20-10. Brett Ratliff, in only his 2nd collegiate start for Utah, has thrown 3 touchdown passes, all of them to Travis Latondras. P.J. Daniels over 100 yards for the 6th time this season, as Tech fighting back from a 20-0 deficit, only down 20-10, and the defense has really stiffened up. Utah facing a 2nd and 8 from the 28. Blitz coming, they pick it up, and Ratliff finds his man. Once again, it is Brian Hernandez. Hernandez, who started his collegiate career at Georgia Tech before transferring closer to home to Utah, has 7 catches, and that's a first down. And there you see the timeline for Brian. Much travel. Goes to Georgia Tech, then he walked on at Arizona State, did not play, went to Pima Community College in Tucson, and 1 year later, he's starting at Utah. So that's 4 stops, 4 teams, 4 schools in 4 years.
And Hernandez really showing the ability to run some sharp routes for his quarterback on the perimeter.
His favorite target today as Ganther explodes up the middle for another first down. Chris Reese makes the stop.
And Utah, as far as the run game goes, not a lot of success thus far in this football game. Really the first big run for the Utes from the tailback position. Utah picked up less than 50 yards in the first half, but when Utah gets the run and pass mix going, they are a load to handle.
The 14-yard gain for Ganther. Ratliff time to throw, but he threw it slightly behind Latondras, who could only get a hand on it. Travis Latondras over 100 yards in catches, 8 catches for 120 yards and 3 scores today.
Well, Pam, there's no doubt coming into the football game, the key was going to be Brett Ratliff. And Georgia Tech, their defensive front, really a front 7 that you cannot have a lot of success typically on the ground. And you ask teams like Miami, Auburn, Georgia, is it going to rest on the arm of Ratliff, and he's been sharp enough to get it done.
A new career high for him today, and he adds to it. Latondras, that was a beautifully thrown football with 3 Tech players around Latondras, including Chris Reese.
And taking a look at Latondras, and the first half that he had, consistently he was able to get inside of safeties, routes to the middle of the field, mainly quick posts. And you can't say enough about the timing and the accuracy of Ratliff from the pocket.
Travis with 9 catches today, touchdown catches of 14, 24, and 25 yards. And that pass is complete to Derek Richards, and he streaks his way down to the 15-yard line.
And once again, Utah with superb execution. The quick pass outside, that looked like Latondras getting a great block into the legs of a secondary player, and just a step from taking it all the way.
Derek Richards got the grass in his helmet as he got his first catch of the day, good for 20 yards. 1st and 10 from the 15. Ganther tripped up near the line of scrimmage, might have picked up a yard. So this Utah offense scored touchdowns on 3 of its first possessions, has had to punt 4 straight times, and they've already gone 74 yards on this drive.
Yeah, it's been a pretty impressive day for the offensive line for Utah. This is a very difficult front 7 to solve in pass protection, and the Utes have done just enough up front to give Ratliff time to deliver the football.
2nd and 9, and that ball is caught close to another first down. Who else but Latondras, now into double digits in catches today.
You know, and as a quarterback at the college level and the pro level for that matter, if you can frustrate a defense, if you can keep the ball away from defenders, make quick reads, throw the ball with accuracy, you've got more than half the battle won. And Ratliff is getting the ball out so quickly that he's starting to frustrate this defensive front for Georgia Tech.
He's marked just short of the first down, and Chris Reese comes up and hits Ganther, and he did not get the first down.
Wow.
Boy, Reese, what a great play from his safety spot.
Now, Georgia Tech really, they've added a luxury this year. Let's go ahead and pick up Mr. Reese. And watch the hit. That's called bringing the helmet and the shoulder pads. And the luxury of having 2 safeties in Landry and Reese with the experience and the games under their belt, the ACC level. And Reese had a big year as a linebacker a year ago. And he brings a hitting style that's reminiscent of a linebacker.
And because of that, Dan Beardall has to try a 22-yard attempt. No, they fake it. That's Weddle. He scored on a fake field goal earlier this year against Colorado State, and the do-it-all player picks up the first down. So Coach Whittingham rolling the dice and winning.
And Weddle, watch him reverse out. I mean, he's going to reverse out after getting the snap. This isn't an option play. And Weddle goes ahead and keeps. That's almost unstoppable with the athletic ability of an Eric Weddle. And he's done just about everything today, Pat.
That's right, taking some snaps at quarterback. And now 1st and goal from the 4. 3 guys lined up behind the quarterback. And getting away from pressure, he throws the interception. Jarris Wilkinson going to take it out of the end zone. He should not have done that. But Ratliff with the mistake from the 4-yard line. Adam Oliver was in hot pursuit of Ratliff, and he threw it to Wilkinson. So that threat snuffed out. Georgia Tech with the football when we come back.
Diamond walnuts. Anything else is just nuts.
You're wearing your varsity tennis jersey from high school.
Yeah?
Is this because I wore my old Philadelphia Eagles jacket to work yesterday?
No, I just felt like wearing this. It's comfortable.
What makes them different makes them great.
No matter how you look at it, there's no better way to watch TV than Comcast Digital Cable with On Demand. You get tons of free movies and shows that you can start whenever you want, plus an interactive on-screen guide to even more popular channels. And you get it all with 100% digital quality picture and sound on every channel. Sign up today for Comcast Digital Cable, TV that takes your TV to a whole other level. Call 1-888-COMCAST today.
Pardon our dust, but we couldn't wait any longer. It's the all-new Fox Lake Toyota Scion in Fox Lake, now open for business. With a turn of a key, we've just made servicing your Toyota or Scion much easier. And we're right in your own backyard. Take advantage of service specials like these. Your next vehicle inspection free. That's right, free. Or your next oil change for only $16.95. Are you ready for winter? We'll winterize your Toyota for only $99.95. Don't delay. If we don't take care of your Toyota, who will? Call now. 847-587-9200 for your appointment. Fox Lake Toyota Scion.
Welcome back to San Francisco. Jarris Wilkinson with an interception in the end zone, and the Oakland native playing across the bay here in San Francisco in his final collegiate game. Boy, they snuff out a drive. Utah had the ball for over 5 minutes, went 86 yards. And that's the first interception Ratliff has thrown for Utah in his 2 games of playing. As a starter, Mike Cox, the fullback, gets that catch. Let's go back to the pick.
Well, and Wilkinson really is sly on this play. Go ahead and run it. Number 49. All ACC performance. Go ahead and split right. What you worry about as a quarterback is a defensive player leaving his responsibility and coming back off to make the interception. And Wilkinson really sold that he was picking up Ganther out of the backfield, and then at the last second, fooled Ratliff on the interception.
Wilkinson decided to bring it out. His up ball is tipped and almost intercepted. Martell Burnett again. He has been everywhere. 6'3", 235-pound sophomore. Got a lot of that football.
He's got a great frame on him, too. Scouts and college coaches, they talk about a kid looking pretty good on the hoof, and that means he's a specimen. He's got great size and frame to him, and Burnett has played a super football game here in San Francisco this afternoon.
Now started the last 6 games for Utah. Recruited as a wide receiver, very athletic defensive end, and now Tech facing a 3rd and 6. Reggie Ball has completed only 3 of his last 12 attempts. Look at 4 of 13. Looking for James Johnson. So Georgia Tech getting the interception in the end zone, but then they turn around with a 3 and out.
Now, Georgia Tech's passing offense, you really get the feeling that they've been out of sorts in this game. They've been out of rhythm. Wide receivers not having a lot of success finding space down the field for Chan Gailey and his quarterback, Reggie Ball. Some drops have been mixed in, Pam. And then Reggie Ball has been inconsistent at times.
Calvin Johnson with just 2 catches on the day as Weddle makes the fair catch with the Arndt punt. Very good field position for Utah. They had the interception last time they had the ball, but will take over around the 37 or 42-yard line, excuse me, when we come back.
A different kind of New Year's Eve countdown, 11 p.m. on ESPN2.
I'm not very good with a hammer, but I played an important part in adding this extra room.
I'm not a real estate agent, but I've helped a lot of people get the home of their dreams.
I'm an AmeriQuest mortgage specialist. I can help you pay off high-interest credit cards
or get money out of your house, whether you're buying a home or refinancing.
I'm here to help.
Call 1-800-AmeriQuest or visit AmeriQuest.com. AmeriQuest Mortgage, proud sponsor of the American Dream.
This is the one I was telling you about.
Dude, you can get that same one online for like 120 Frosties.
With all the delicious 99-cent choices on Wendy's Super Value menu, you'll see dollars in a whole new way.
There you go.
75 Junior Bacon Cheeseburgers?
For 99 cents, get Wendy's famous Junior Bacon Cheeseburger made fresh, hot off the grill, crispy chicken nuggets, or our new Junior Barbecue Cheeseburger, all on Wendy's Super Value menu.
Honey, you look like a million crispy chicken nuggets.
Do Wendy's, and for 99 cents, do what tastes right.
Power up your game at GameTap, where you can play over 300 of the greatest video games right from your broadband-connected PC. Sign up, download, and play everything from Pac-Man and Sonic to Tomb Raider and Splinter Cell. And if you sign up now, you'll get your first 2 weeks free at GameTap.com. After that, pay just $14.95 a month. Why settle for one game when you can play hundreds for so little? There's no commitment. Play as much as you want. New games are added all the time, all in their original format. Plus, membership takes you beyond the games. Inside GameTap, there's a whole new network with exclusive programming and never-before-seen entertainment. In seconds, you can be dodging missiles and who knows what else. Sign up today and power up at GameTap. GameTap. Expand your playground. Get your first 2 weeks free at GameTap.com/offer. Some games rated E to T. Not all games rated by the ESRB.
Fisherman's Wharf, the place to go here in San Francisco for, well, not a good place if you're a crab because you're not going to last long. That poor guy became somebody's dinner. That's quite a meal. Great place to go if you love seafood down at the wharf.
When your time is up, your time is up. It's a crab. When you make it into that little aquarium, you know your days are numbered.
As we join you, the Emerald Bowl in beautiful San Francisco for the 4th time today. Utah starting in Georgia Tech territory as they take over at the 42-yard line. Brett Ratliff throwing the 2nd interception of the season for him, first as a starter in these last 2 games. And the fearless one throws it away. Everybody covered downfield as Philip Wheeler was chasing him. He threw it away. Tonight at 8 Eastern, ESPN's coverage of Capital One Bowl Week continues as Oregon takes on Oklahoma in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl in San Diego. This game also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. And for more information, you can always log on to ESPN.com. Keith Jackson and company getting ready to call that game a few hundred miles south of here in San Diego. As a lot of people moved the whole left side of the Utah line up early.
That'll cost the Utes 5 yards. And you look at the offensive line for Utah, really the strength.
Number 78 on the offense. It's a false start. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
The strength of this offensive line has been the left side. Topola. Of course, a great season by their center. We talked about Pam, Jesse Boone.
David Dirkmott, the left guard, very athletic guy. They'll pull him out a lot. They got Topola for the infraction. That one's knocked down. Michael Hall, the linebacker, came in and smacked it down.
This linebacking core for Georgia Tech has had a pretty impressive season. And across the board, they run with the best linebacking groups in the country. Michael Hall. All you have to do is go back to the Miami game, the big upset, the 14-10 win against the Hurricanes, and he was a playmaking machine. And you take a look at the numbers, tackles behind the line of scrimmage combined within that group. 3 playmakers across.
Terrific unit, a great play, makes it 3rd and 15. Ratliff with all the time in the world to find his target, and he has him. Travis Latondres with the new career high, 11 catches on the day. They needed 15 yards, David, and got 29.
Well, Latondres is going to end up matched up against Jarris Wilkinson, and that's a mismatch. Latondres got behind Wilkinson and then shaped the route inside. And when you're looking downfield as a quarterback and you've got a wide receiver running down the seam, you look for him to shape it and to give you some some movement in towards the middle of the field, give you a picture to throw to. Latondras has done that time and time again this afternoon.
And with that throw, Ratliff over 300 yards on the day. Little pick back to Ganther after Latondras caught his 12th pass of the day, but there was a flag down back by the quarterback, Ratliff. And many whistles.
I think they're going to hit the Yellow Jackets with a late hit on Ratliff.
Run for the passer. Number 35 in the defense.
Michael Hall.
Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And how about the hook and ladder? You know, he talked about Ratliff frustrating the defense, and you make enough throws on time, you're going to force defenses into some bad decisions, and that was a bad decision by Michael Hall. Again, we see some great execution by Utah. Pam, the Utes came ready to play this afternoon. I think that has been clearly evident.
Throwing some pitches into the playbook. Ratliff on 1st and goal. Throwing it out of bounds. Joannaway pursuing him. Ratliff able to get rid of it. So 2nd and goal from the 5 coming up. Remember the last time they were down this close, Ratliff threw the interception in the end zone.
Well, and you learn quickly if you're a good quarterback. You learn by your mistakes. That was the 2nd career interception for Ratliff, but the 1st pick as a quarterback starter for Utah. And I think we saw in the last play, Pam, that he's now capable to put that in his computer and make an intelligent decision next time down in the red zone.
So now it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Georgia Tech brings a lot of people, and that pass towards Derek Richards just zips through his hands as Reuben Houston came in with pressure from his corner spot. Let's head down to Duke Castiglione.
Well, Pam, I want to show you just how close we are in the far right corner of the end zone, the pylon. If Ratliff throws to Latondras here in the end zone, Latondras has about 1.5 yards before he goes into the bullpen here. And he's going at full speed, so this isn't exactly like J.T. Snow reaching over to make a catch in the bullpen here. Could be a dangerous situation.
Yeah, there is the warning track, and where Duke was standing, they just before the game chalked in the end of the goal line, the end of the end zone, and another pitch back. But Reuben Houston snuffing it out, and Ganther taken down.
Well, and we haven't seen some of the characteristics that you usually see from a Utah offense, and I think that's really a product of Ratliff and his pocket passer mentality and pedigree. And Kyle Whittingham knows that he has to go away from some of the bread and butter option game that was so popular with Alex Smith last year and also with Brian Johnson through 10 games.
So he's getting other players to do that. Dan Beardall in for what we think will be his first field goal attempt from 23. They ran a fake last time out. Weddle got the first down, but Beardall does kick it, and he kicks it through. Dan Beardall, the walk-on from Highland, Utah, first team all-conference player, with the field goal, and Utah extends its lead to 23-10. Capital One Bowl Week continuing on ESPN tomorrow with 2 great games. At 3:30 Eastern, the Independence Bowl featuring South Carolina and Missouri. Then at 7 Eastern, College Game Day Bowl Special presented by Outback Steakhouse leads you into the nation's top teams meeting in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. This one is a good one. Miami and LSU. Check it out tomorrow on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. So Travis Latondras, what a way to go out for the senior. Here's a guy who started out as a walk-on, and he is going out in style. 3 touchdown catches today, and a career-high 11 catches for 170 total yards.
Yeah, and like many of these Utah players that were around for the perfect season a year ago, Travis Latondras is always going to have that memory to go back to. The perfect season, the win in the Fiesta Bowl. And I think Travis Latondras knows, along with some of his teammates, that this Utah team was capable of going even further a year ago.
Latondras with the big game as Rashawn Grant gets the Sakota kickoff. and takes it back to around the 25. Now, coming into this game, if you're thinking big-time wide receiver, you're thinking number 21 with the white jersey, Calvin Johnson, but Latondras has certainly stolen the spotlight. 2 catches, only 19 yards for the All-American.
Well, defenses do a lot to take Calvin Johnson away. They play press coverage on the line of scrimmage. They double him. They play safeties over the top. But I still think you have a huge question mark in terms of the Georgia Tech offense. I think there have been too many games when Calvin Johnson flat has been taken totally out of the contest.
Tashard Choice, first time he has gotten his hands on the ball. Sophomore from Riverdale, Georgia.
I mean, Pam, you look at Calvin Johnson, and you only have to go back to the Georgia game to underscore the point. He scored on a touchdown reception early in the football game on the opening drive, and the rest of the way against the Bulldogs, he was shut down. Only 1 catch for 12 yards after that opening drive. And I just think when you have a guy who could be the most talented wide receiver in the country, you've got to find some ways to move him around and to free him up and to get him more touches.
He's down the left side, and another batted ball, but it goes right back to Reggie Ball. So Ball catches his own pass. Burnett with his 2nd deflection of the game.
Well, Burnett has been all over the field. And he's used his speed, he's used his quickness, and he's also used his wingspan. Reggie Ball, a heads-up play to not allow that deflection to turn into an interception and to move it forward for some additional yardage.
Inside a minute left to go here in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 12 from the 26. Ball with time. And makes a nice throw to Cooper, George Cooper, who caught a touchdown pass in the 2nd quarter, but he's about 3 yards short of the first down marker. Spencer Toon, number 9, one of the senior leaders on this team, making the stop.
We talked about Georgia Tech and how this pass offense for the Yellow Jackets has been out of rhythm throughout the contest. And I think Utah's man-to-man principles across with a free safety over the top has really taken away the receivers on the perimeter for Georgia Tech.
Ben Arndt in to punt for the 7th time. And Weddle and DJ Jones have a little conversation at the end of the play. 40-yard punt by Arndt. Two seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. And again, the unusual configuration, both teams on the same sideline, so they can yap at each other all the way to the sideline.
Things are getting a little testy after the whistle down on field level. Good thing they have that 10-yard neutral zone between the two teams. They may need it before this game is over.
So Utah, in what will be the last play of the 3rd quarter, taking over on the 27. Leading Georgia Tech 23-10. Ratliff completes it to Hernandez. And a nice move by Hernandez to get away from Chris Reese and pick up the first down.
Well, when you look at the responsibilities of these quarterbacks, Pam, Ratliff getting a lot of freedom outside, going against a zone defense, a lot of room to complete balls. Reggie Ball, on the other hand, for the Yellow Jackets, looking at man-to-man.
Ohio State Notre Dame, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Monday on ABC.
Hey, you guys need a ride?
Don't think so. No, thanks. No, thank you.
Eccentric matadors, exercising religiously and littering, do not use the steamroller. Even matadors love Emerald Nuts.
And I don't even have that insurance.
What insurance, Santa?
The one that pays you cash if you're hurt and can't work.
Huh?
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
before you buy. Come see the Castle Guy.
Are you walking around with a little extra weight? Car repairs, parking tickets, threats of repossession, or even foreclosure? Lose that extra weight for good. Call Debt Stoppers at 888-619-0400 or visit debtstoppers.net, Chicagoland's premier debt relief agency. Debt Stoppers, 888-619-0400. We'll stop your debt so you can take charge of your life.
$9 a month, no late fees.
We've reached the fourth quarter here in the 4th annual Emerald Bowl in San Francisco. Utah pulling off the upset on number 24 Georgia Tech, up 23-10, and the Utes have the ball. First down at the 42. Utah going for its 5th consecutive bowl win. And Ganther stuffed up the middle. Might have lost about a foot or so. Let's go back to Reese Davis now for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Reese.
Pam saying it was the right time to come back. Tony Dungy is back with the Colts just a week after his son was found dead of an apparent suicide. He says he will coach the team Sunday against Arizona. SportsCenter coming up after the Pacific Live Holiday Bowl. ESPN News, always on.
Thank you, Reese. And Tony Dungy, you can only imagine what he and his family have gone through. And now heading back. Colts have lost 2 in a row. Trying to pick up the pieces as they head towards the playoffs. And Latondras, he's everywhere today. Latondras with 3 touchdown catches and a dozen balls that he's brought in today.
Now, we talked to John Tenuta, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, earlier this week, and he said we're going to make Brett Ratliff beat us with his arm. And Latondras has done an incredible job with his route running and his pass catching throughout this game. I think it's safe to say that John Tenuta is realizing that Brett Ratliff is a top-notch quarterback.
Just joining us, this is Ratliff's 2nd career start for Utah. Junior college transfer, coming in as a junior. And again, with the presence of mind to throw the ball away. Played a couple of years at Butte College. And if that's your strategy, is to make Ratliff beat you with his arm, you know what he's doing? He's beating him with his arm.
Well,
he's doing it.
And it's easier said than done because Georgia Tech, we talked about the pressure package. They're a zone blitz team, and they play loose in the secondary. So it's tough to get receivers vertically down the field for big plays. You have to trust your quarterback to attack this defense by moving the chains, being patient, and hitting the short to intermediate routes. And Ratliff has done it well with accuracy, and he's thrown the ball with timing.
He's thrown for 347 yards, now well over 350. Latondras with his 14th catch of the day. And another Utah first down. This is the 10th best defense in the country statistically, and they are making mincemeat out of it.
Well, and Ratliff on this play does an exceptional job of leading his receiver away from the trouble in the middle of the field. And you look at those numbers, 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, 28 for 39. Right? How do you back up that BYU performance as a quarterback? I think Ratliff is doing a pretty good job.
Against a terrific defense, and another reverse. Marquise Wilson gets a block from Ratliff and takes it out at the 15 for another first down.
Well, as a quarterback on a reverse, you have a big blocking assignment. I'll go ahead and look at him working downfield. Brett Ratliff getting into the legs and springing his skill athlete on the perimeter. That's a super job by Brett Ratliff working down the football field as a blocker.
1st and 10, Ratliff going against the grain. And that pass is completed to Latondras, but he doesn't get any or get much out of it. Utah right now, David, 422 total yards. That is the most given up by Georgia Tech all season.
Well, and you look at the success that this defense has had against some pretty talented teams. Once again, looking at Latondras' numbers. But remember, Georgia Tech gave up only 14 points to Auburn, only 10 points to Miami. And then they finished off the season with a 14-point performance against the Bulldogs of Georgia.
Cantor with a good catch of a high pitch, and his knee did hit the ground around the 16-yard line. College football, you don't have to be touched just so your knee hits it, and Coach Whittingham doesn't think his knee even hit it. Let's look.
No, we haven't seen a lot of option, and option is not Ratliff's forte. Brian Johnson, a much better quarterback from an option perspective, and the knee does touch. Good call by the officiating crew. But Ratliff is capable of running the football and running the option just enough to keep a defense honest. We saw that in the BYU game, Pam, when he went over 100 yards rushing from the quarterback spot.
112 yards rushing and 4 touchdown passes in that game. He's got 3 touchdown passes today. 2nd and 11 from the 16. Latondras make it 4 touchdown catches. Travis Latondras with an all-time day.
Well, Brett Ratliff set up this play with a great arm fake outside, and then he comes back inside again on another inside route, a post route, and Ratliff exhibited the touch from the pocket to drop that ball in. He could not deliver that post route on the line, Pam. He dropped it over the top with great touch. Ratliff showing the ability to make all the throws this afternoon.
Latondras came in with 4 touchdown catches on the season. He has 4 today, and they are going for 2 points. And look at Ratliff. Up towards 400 yards, again, a bowl record for any Ute. And here comes the 2-point conversion. Ratliff corner of the end zone. Latondras can do no wrong. (31-10) Utah. Travis Latondras has tied a Utah record with 4 touchdown catches in one game. Here's number 4. You run into the wall, come back in, and then catch one for 2. Big-time offensive day for Utah.
The Digital Rebel XT. An 8-megapixel, easy-to-use SLR. Virtually no delay when you snap the picture, and with the ability to shoot at 3 frames per second. You never miss the opportunity to catch the impossible. The next generation Digital Rebel XT. Official camera of the NFL and future NFL players everywhere.
Ooh, you okay? It's this arthritis pain. Arthritis pain? Try my Aleve.
People with arthritis are sharing their good news.
Oh, honey, you've got to try this Aleve.
Good news about the strength and safety of Aleve.
Try my Aleve, Mom. It's amazing.
Only Aleve has the strength to stop arthritis pain all day with just 2 pills. That would take 8 Tylenol. Aleve, that's good news you'll want to share.
And for powerful cold relief, find Aleve Cold and Sinus at the pharmacy if it's not on the shelf.
1855. Fred Miller brews his best beer yet. It has everything except a name. Then it hits him. Fred Miller's beer. Good call, Fred. Pick up some 1855 lager, our tribute to Fred's first beer.
Before you go here, before you attempt this, and before you even think about going there, you need to go here. Cooper Discoverer Tires, built to take you just about anywhere. Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. Go to coopertire.com for more information and a dealer near you.
Energizer E² lithium batteries let you take up to 600 photos in digital cameras versus up to just 90 with leading ordinary alkaline batteries. Energizer E² lithium keeps going and going.
A Different kind of New Year's Eve countdown, 11 p.m. on ESPN2.
Brett Ratliff, number 15 there in your picture, has thrown 4 touchdown passes today, all of them to Travis Latondras. And there's Brett's numbers coming up on 400 yards for the game, already a bowl record. And Travis is getting congratulations from everybody. What a game he's had.
Well, Latondras will remember this game for a long time to come, but I think that Brett Ratliff is going to make it on the radar screens of some NFL scouts going into his senior year. This type of performance against Georgia Tech, this caliber of defense, does not go unnoticed.
Rashawn Grant tackled down at the 22-yard line. That's where Georgia Tech will take over. Now let's head down the coast and check in with Keith Jackson.
Well, Pam, in the strength versus strength side of this story out of San Diego tonight, Adrian Peterson, the Rocket from Oklahoma. He is healthy and he's going full bore, but he'll run into this big guy, Haloti Ngata, before the night is over, and it'll be a memorable collision.
All right, Keith Jackson. Nobody can say names like him. Coming up, Oregon, as they follow us, as we look forward to sending it down to San Diego. And boy, P.J. Daniels going backwards. And this Utah team coming in all fired up. Soli Lafiti that time making the stop.
A pretty solid game up front for Utah. And Georgia Tech has had some success on the ground, but the Yellow Jackets are going to have to start putting the ball up in the air. This game is not over yet.
Chris Woods making the catch from Reggie Ball as we approach the 11-minute mark here in the fourth quarter.
Utah up by 21 points, and if Georgia Tech is going to have any hope here late, just under 11 minutes to go in this game, they're going to have to put a drive together, and it's going to have to be done through the air. Boy, this offense, Pam, especially the wide receivers, have been shut down by the Utah scheme.
And once again, Steve Fafita, the senior from Huntington Beach, coming in and making a big play.
Things just got a lot tougher for Georgia Tech. If you're talking comeback, and Fafita, and we visited with him yesterday, Pam. We said, hey, you pick up another MVP on defense in a bowl game like you did last year in the Fiesta Bowl, and he said, that's the plan.
4th and 17. As Weddle makes the fair catch at the 48. Steve Fafita said coming into this game, we got a lot of doubters. It'll be good to shut their mouths. This has been a shut your mouth kind of day for the Utes.
I wouldn't do that.
Engrossed manicurists eventually relay advice like, do not untie that string. Even manicurists love emerald nuts.
This December, Nissan's got you covered from A to Z. Nissan's A to Z year-end sales event. Get year-end deals on Altima, Armada, Frontier, Maxima, Murano, Pathfinder, Quest, Sentra, Titan, Xterra, Z. Like 2,000 cash back on the Nissan Xterra 2006 Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year. Style, performance, value. From A to Z.
People everywhere experiencing a breakthrough. New to the Big Bell Value Menu, the half-pound cheesy bean and rice burrito topped with a cheesy zesty kick. To get full-on value, think outside the bun.
King Kong is what you go to the movies for. It's stupendously entertaining. So break out the popcorn and prepare to be blown away. King Kong, rated PG-13, now playing.
Just about tip-off time. The 76ers will take on.
Emerson makes a hard foul. Returns to the lineup. Plays hard.
course, the shoulder had been injured. Despite the injury,
Iverson drops 23 and has a career
5 injuries to the right knee. This guy is a warrior.
Time to go to work.
Steve Fafita there, number 94, had himself a sack. Utah crushing Georgia Tech now 31-10. Tech has 1 first down in this second half. That's it. Ganther gets the football, picks up about 5 as we head back to the studio and Reese Davis.
Pam, coming up just as soon as you guys are done in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Dennis Dixon, one of the quarterbacks, stepping in for the injured Kellen Clemens. Oregon, number 6 in the nation, taking on Oklahoma. Keith Jackson will be on the call.
I'll look forward to that game coming up. Oregon, one of the teams that a lot of their fans especially feel they were slighted by the BCS folks.
Well, you know, they say, how does an Ohio State team or a Notre Dame team get into a BCS picture with a worse record?
Ganther stopped a couple of yards short of the first down by Adam Oliver.
Florida State, 4 losses. And, you know, you can't fight people on the BCS. There are a lot of questions that go unanswered. We talked about Utah a year ago. We'll never know how good that team would have been. We'll never know whether Auburn was a championship caliber team. And, USC and Texas this year, by virtue of being the only undefeated teams, I think that is the perfect championship game and the right one. But that's only going to happen once every 4 or 5 years.
They got lucky this year. Ganther picks up the first down, slips a tackle by Reese, and Quinton Ganther scores. The first touchdown by someone other than
Utah has not had a lot of success in the running game. It's been a passing game feature for Brett Ratliff and Travis Latondras, but Quinton Ganther finally breaks through. Over 1,000 yards on the season, and a very key weapon for this offense throughout the course of the season.
41-yard touchdown for Ganther, who is from nearby Richmond, California. There's well over 100 friends and family watching him, and boy, did the Ganther family have a lot to cheer about now. 41-yard touchdown scamper. Utah now leads it 38-10.
Successful investing. At T. Rowe Price, it's about more than just hitting home runs. It's about a consistent, steady approach, year after year. For each 1, 5, and 10-year period, over 70% of our funds beat their Lipper average. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a complete prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing.
Panthera tigris, the Bengal tiger, native to the Indian subcontinent. These playful cubs will grow into fierce...
Don't miss Capital One Bowl Week, a full week of college football action. You'll see the nation's best college athletes in some of the most exciting matchups of the year. Capital One Bowl Week, December 26th through January 2nd, live on ESPN and
No matter how you look at it, there's no better way to watch TV than Comcast Digital Cable with On Demand. You get tons of free movies and shows that you can start whenever you want, plus an interactive on-screen guide to even more popular channels. And you get it all with 100% digital quality picture and sound on every channel. Sign up today for Comcast Digital Cable, TV that takes your TV to a whole other level. Call 1-888-COMCAST today.
Before you buy, come see the Castle Guy.
Yes, you can.
ESPN College Football, the Emerald Bowl, is brought to you by Emerald Nuts. See what all the fuss is about at emeraldnuts.com.
Beautiful shot of the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco. Utah with 506 yards of total offense, and they are running away from Georgia Tech. Quinton Ganther with a 41-yard touchdown run makes it 38-10. Flag comes down as that kick is picked up by Xavier McGuire, one of the backup wide receivers. This vaunted Georgia Tech defense has been picked apart all day by the Utes. So the holding call against Utah going to push them back a little bit. So we have a rout, something we certainly did not expect in this game, as Utah has come out playing like gangbusters. But you have some BCS venting you'd like to do.
No venting. But I again, when we talk about USC and Texas, that is the national title game. It's going to be one hell of a ball game. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Vince Young can negotiate the defense of USC, and then you have the Orange Bowl with Paterno and Bowden, and that's going to be an exceptional game to have a matchup of the two winningest coaches of all time at the Division I level.
Pass completed for a first down to Tashard Choice as he gets it up close to the 30-yard line. So yeah, we got Florida State taking on Penn State, and the bowl game is good. But imagine if they played in the regular season, it'd be more exciting, wouldn't it?
Well, I think that the bowl game's going to be very exciting, and you don't want to take anything away from that game. But I would take it one step further and say, what if that was a playoff game? What if that was a quarterfinal game in an 8-team playoff? That might be the highest-rated TV college football game in the history of college football. I mean, Paterno against Bowden with something on the line, and that something would be a championship.
Reggie Ball slipping again. About the fourth time I think that he has done that, as he loses a couple of yards, falling down. Reggie Ball having trouble keeping his feet today.
And when we talk about USC and Texas, every 4 or 5 years you're going to get a two undefeated team situation like we had with Florida State and Virginia Tech 4 or 5 years back. But that's only going to happen every 4 or 5 years, and then the other 3 or 4 years you're going to have. You're going to have situations like last year where Utah and Auburn have perfect seasons and they don't get a chance to play for a national title. And I really think that the playoff system is where college football is headed. Maybe not in the next 4 or 5 years, but there's going to be a day where we're going to go to a 4-team playoff and then potentially an 8-team playoff. And I think the fans are really going to drive that in college football. If you polled the fans out there, I think 98 to 99% of the fans would say, hey, that is the most exciting format. That's the way we've got to do it.
Well, so you and I have done, we did some 1AA playoff games, Division II. Remember in Division III, 32 teams go in. Division II, 24 teams go into the playoffs, and 1AA, 16 teams go in. So when people, huff and puff about 4 teams going in, it's ridiculous.
Well, when you play an 11-game regular season, if you do that and you had an 8-team playoff, the 2 teams in the final would be playing 14 games.
Ball picking up the snap and completing it to Choice, and a great effort by Tashard Choice as he picks up the first down.
And Pam, 14 games for the two teams that are in a final in an 8-team playoff. Now, there are a lot of teams that are playing 14 games now, and with the addition of a 12th game at the college level, you look at a team playing 12 regular season games, then they play in a conference championship game potentially, and then a bowl game. You got 14 games there. So you're under the format that we have today, there's going to be more than 2 teams as it is that play 14 games.
Ball with the quarterback keeper. Reggie picks up the first down as he goes into Utah territory, and we saw those BCS standings, and you're making the point about Oregon. What's the point of having BCS standings when the 5th team in the BCS standings doesn't go to a BCS bowl?
Well, and you have to pick one way or the other. Are you going to pick the BCS standings in terms of the teams rated 1 through 8, or are you going to honor who wins their conference? Because to be true to it, even in the old format, before the BCS, Oregon would not be playing in a New Year's Day bowl game. They didn't win the Pac-10. They didn't beat USC. And you go back 15, 20 years, Oregon wouldn't play in the Rose Bowl. So you got to pick one way or the other, and I can see arguments both ways.
And to have the Big East, last year especially, still get that automatic bid, and Pittsburgh showed that it was not up to snuff with the other BCS teams because Utah blew them out.
Well, and I know there are a lot of Utah fans out there, Utah players, Utah coaches, that were really upset a year ago that they didn't at least have a chance to line up against Auburn. If you're not going to allow Auburn and Utah to play for a national title game, at least give them a showcase. You know, put the game up on the mantle and allow the 2 undefeated teams to play against each other. Utah wasn't allowed that. They weren't allowed a top-notch opponent to compete against in their showcase game at the end of the season.
And they felt disrespected as Grant gets another carry because they played what was the weakest of all the teams in the BCS mix in Pittsburgh, and they had an easy time with them in the Fiesta Bowl. There's Steve Fafita, one of the guys again we talked to yesterday. One of the, sort of a, I don't know if chip on your shoulder is the correct phrase, but these guys at Utah just give me an opportunity to show how good I am, and they never did not have that opportunity last year. Eric Weddle among them. Some great ball players, and they're coming in here today. Remember, they don't beat BYU in their last game of the regular season. They don't even get into this game, and now they're destroying Georgia Tech. And one heck of a finish for the Utes. Ball throwing in the end zone for Calvin Johnson, and that's way out of bounds. A terrific grab by Calvin, but not close to being a legal catch.
And this gives you an idea of the tremendous athletic ability of Calvin Johnson. And he's made about 35 catches on the season of this caliber. As a quarterback, you got to keep the football in bounds. You got to keep it in the field of play. And, you know, if there's a knock out there on Chan Gailey in his passing offense, he doesn't work certain sections of the field. And you only have to look at this football game this afternoon as an example. They do not like to work the middle of the field. And if you don't work the middle of the field, you're facing man-to-man coverage. You're going to be throwing a lot of high-degree difficulty fade routes throughout a game.
And obviously cuts down on the opportunities for a guy like Johnson to catch a football. And he's the most potent offensive weapon you have. Let's head back now to Reese Davis.
All right, Pam, just as soon as you guys are done, a little bit after the top of the hour, Oklahoma and Oregon will kick off. Adrian Peterson put 183 on the Ducks when they met last year. Most of you will get there for the kickoff of this game.
Thank you, Reese. We look forward to heading down to San Diego for that game right now. Utah with a 28-point lead over Calvin Johnson and the rest of Georgia Tech.
Year in and year out, that Holiday Bowl game offers one of the best bowl games of the season, and I'm looking forward to watching the Sooners and the Ducks slug it out a little later on.
Chris Woods with that carry stopped about a half-yard short of the first down. They got to go for it. Nothing loose here.
You know, this Yellow Jacket team, I think when they look back on the 2005 season, Pam, there are going to be some wins that were extremely impressive. To go out and beat an Auburn team, to beat a Miami team. You know, if we did have an 18 playoff, those are a couple wins there against teams that might be in that 18 playoff.
Here facing a 4th and 1. And they're not going to get it because slipping down in the backfield is Chris Woods. So Utah gets the ball on downs. Had a lot of rain here in the Bay Area the last few days. The field is sloppy, a little soggy down there, and Woods could not get his feet under it.
When Georgia Tech was extended the invitation to come out to San Francisco, Chan Gailey, some players, some other coaches, and certainly a number of fans were upset by the bowl bid, and they didn't hide their disappointment with some of the quotes in the newspapers. And I think, you know, when all is said and done, Pam, Utah showed up and played in this game like they were excited to be here. And Georgia Tech, this has not been a performance that they're going to look back on too fondly.
Ganther picks up the first down as he is now over 100 yards on the day. Utah with 518 yards. That is by far the most given up by Georgia Tech this season.
That is not a John Tenuta coached defense. This defense against the big boys, against the heavyweights this year, posted some just unbelievable numbers, especially against the run. One of the top 10 defenses in the country, and Utah has surgically dismantled this football team.
Ganther going down in the arms of Vance Walker. This is the Emerald Bowl in San Francisco. Georgia Tech losing to Utah. Travis Latondras with a career-high 4 touchdown catches, 16 catches overall. Brett Ratliff, career-high 383 yards in his second start. Beat BYU to end the regular season to get him bowl eligible, and now he's beaten up on a very good Georgia Tech defense. 2nd and 11 for the Utes. Ganther picking up another first down, padding his stats as he gets it into Georgia Tech territory. So Utah running away with this one as the Emerald Bowl winds down. Time to get everybody set now for the Holiday Bowl in San Diego as we send you out to Keith Jackson.
Coming onto the field for the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl matchup against the University of Oklahoma Sooners. 10-1 on the season. Felt they should have been in the BCS. Didn't get the call. But they're squared away to play against a tough Oklahoma team that finished on the dead run. We've got a good one coming up from San Diego. Pam, now back to you.
Thanks, Keith, and we'll get it out to you. This game winding down as Darrell Mack gets his first carry, the true freshman from Spring Valley, California. Travis Latondras, what a way to close out his collegiate career. Came in as a walk-on to Utah, got the scholarship before the 04 season, and walks away with 4 touchdown catches.
Yeah, and you can't say enough about his performance. Brett Ratliff at quarterback. But Pam, we tend to focus on the skill players, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers. I think in this football game, Utah up front, offensive line, defensive front, really took it to Georgia Tech, manhandled them physically in the trenches on both sides of the football.
As Mack finishes that run with another first down, and Kyle Whittingham, first year as the head coach at Utah, and he gets set up. Afiaki set him up for the cold water down the back. Utah on its way to its 5th straight bowl victory, and Coach Whittingham courted by BYU last year, his alma mater. He was a very good linebacker there and stayed on at Utah, succeeded Urban Meyer. He was Urban's defensive coordinator, the only assistant that Meyer kept when he came over from Bowling Green. And what a job, what a closing job his team has done. Mack picks up another couple of yards.
Well, and Pam, I think this is another strong argument for the mid-majors being included with, the heavyweights in college football. Utah made a believer of Pittsburgh a year ago. They certainly made a believer of a top-notch ACC team this afternoon. And this is a team that gave up 14 points to Auburn, 14 points to Georgia, only 10 points against Miami. We're talking the Georgia Tech defense, and Utah is over 500 yards. It's a real strike for the mid-majors. Teams like Utah.
Utah with 300 yards here in the second half of offense as Mack continues to run. Our Capital One players of the game, you can't separate these two guys today. Brett Ratliff and Travis Latondras, both with career days, connecting with 4 touchdown catches. Ratliff with the throws, Latondras with the catches. Ratliff, Utah bowl game records for completions, yards, and touchdowns. Latondras with 4 touchdowns, tying an NCAA bowl record all time.
Latondras, time and time again, went into the middle of the field on post routes and really set up his routes well. had secondary players guessing throughout this game for Georgia Tech.
Stop close. Hit the first down marker as we hit 38 seconds.
You know, and Brett Ratliff, I know that there are a lot of teams in Division I football that would love to have a quarterback lining up behind center with the throwing ability of a Ratliff. And I think going into his senior year coming up that there are going to be a few NFL scouts that are going to be turning on the film. I think Ratliff has shown the ability
illegal
to throw the ball.
On the offense, number 12. That penalties decline. 4th down.
Shown the ability to throw the ball from the pocket with strength and accuracy. He's made some great decisions, and I think he's one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen this year, Pam.
He's had a terrific couple of games starting for this team. Now 4th and 1 coming up for Utah. The last game of our season. Eric Posman, our producer, Tim Sutton, our director, Steve Fenning, Andy Green, Steve Stetz, Fred Clow, all the guys in the truck. It's been a great season. Tony Britt, our stats guy. Bob Carney. And Bill Garrity, a terrific spotter. Good to have Bill with us here in San Francisco. It was a great year for us, and what a great way to end the year for Utah. Can you believe it? 38-10. 554 yards of offense they put up on a very good Georgia Tech defense.
Well, Pam, it's been a real pleasure, and a pleasure to work with this crew, pleasure to work with you. We had some great games, great Big Ten games, and I'll tell you what, I said the same thing last year when I covered the Fiesta Bowl. Utah has made me a believer.
Ratliff will be back as a senior next year. For Duke Castiglione and David Norrie, I'm Pam Ward. On behalf of our entire ESPN crew, we say so long from San Francisco. Let's go to San Diego.
Welcome to one of our country's most pleasant cities, a bounty of climate, sea air, good living, with the backdrop of some of the nation's muscle in the naval armada that calls San Diego home. This game has a 28-year history that is marked by high-scoring college football games with wild finishes, featuring many of the game's best players. The Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. From San Diego, California, the 28th playing of the Holiday Bowl game magic, the Oregon Ducks of the Pac-10